court. We've played 2 weeks of the 2025 Texas high school football season as tonight we welcome you into Ken Hall Stadium in Missouri City for opening night of week 3 as the Ridge Point Panthers take on the Bridgeland Bears. Hello everyone, whether you're watching us on TexanLive.com or for free on YouTube, welcome into the Dave Campbell's broadcast booth. I'm Gavin Moritz, and we got another special one for y'all tonight. As joining me is Dave Campbell's high school writer to my left, Carter Yates. To his left, our director of recruiting, Greg Powers. Carter, we'll start with you. It's a matchup of unbeatens, two high-powered offenses with very different philosophies and styles of play.
Gavin, I know that the summer solstice technically hasn't hit to announce the start of fall, but being down on the field pregame, seeing the atmosphere, how the Ridge Point student section was in their seats with an hour to kick off, how Cypress Bridgeland last year had their best football season with a 12-2 record, how Ridge Point has 24 kids with D1 offers. It feels like a playoff atmosphere, and I cannot wait for this one to kick off.
Powers, we go to you. Some big-time recruits in this game. Start with Ridge Point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm watching up front for sure. You guys know I'm dialed into the offensive linemen, and up front they have Avery Morcho committed to Texas A&M, Hugh Smith committed to Arkansas, and Jordan Burnett committed to TCU. They've got plenty of skill guys and guys that can go on the defensive side of the ball as well. But the O-lineman inside of him, he gets excited whenever I watch those guys up front.
We'll get to Bridgeland here in just a moment as now we take you down to the field here at Ken Hall Stadium in Missouri City for our national anthem.
Colors were the night orange, flown by the NJRO team of the Marine Corps, Ridge Point High School, around the national anthem by the Panther Band.
As we welcome you back in here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, it's now time to take you down to the field for our Panini America quarterback matchup. Carter, we start with you, and we start with the junior for the Ridge Point Panthers. It's Brody Barty.
Yeah, Ridge Point has been rotating through 3 quarterbacks through the first 2 games of the season. And talking to Coach Rick LeFavors this week, Brody Barty, the junior, has separated from the pack. We've seen all 3 quarterbacks who probably have a Division I future battle it out, and Coach LeFavor said they all have such a tremendous attitude because when you rotate through 3 quarterbacks, that has a chance to fracture the team and splinter the locker room. But these guys are all each other's biggest fan and supporter. But Brody Barty just was the most consistent through the first 2 games, and he's going to get the nod tonight.
Powers, we go over to you now. Talk to me about Tyler Beagle for Cypress Bridgeland.
On the flip side of what Ridgepoint has going on, Bridgeland quarterback Tyler Beagle has been the guy, right? Coming into the season, he was an established starter. The thing that sticks out to me, despite his 6 foot, 200-pound frame, 17 touchdowns to only 1 interception heading into the 2025 season. So he's a guy who makes very few mistakes, runs the offense very smoothly, and he's already picked up an offer from Lamar as well, so an in-state school chasing his signature.
Carter, you and I were talking before this game about Ridgepoint's offense, how explosive they are. Talk to me about the Panthers and what they can kind of achieve offensively.
Yeah, well, talking to Coach LeFavors, he said when he used to coach at Alabama, they went up to a Tennessee Titans clinic and found out about explosive play differentials. Basically, they track defense explosive runs allowed at plus 12, defense explosive passes allowed at plus 16 yards, but then on the same part for the offensive side. And we see through the first 2 games of the year, they have had 6 more explosive plays than Clear Springs in week 1, and then had 9 total explosive plays versus Fulshire last week. So even while they're rotating quarterbacks, still having a lot of explosive plays, and Coach LeFavor said they're actually better in this regard through 2 weeks of the 2025 season than they were last year, the 2024 season.
As the captains here will meet at midfield for the opening coin toss, Ridgepoint will be in the purple jerseys, black pants, white helmets. Bridgeland, clad white.
Yeah, Bridgeland's got some GoDaddies on their team as well. You're going to have to keep your eye on number 2, Braden Graves. He's the safety. He's all over the field making plays. Reminds me a little bit of former Texas Longhorns safety Caden Stearns. He's a tall, rangy safety, but doesn't show any weakness. He comes downhill really fast, and he will light ball carriers up. And Bridgeland's also going to rely on Cash Schwab at running back. You know, he had a really good game last year in the playoffs against Duncanville, one of the games that they happened to lose. But I noticed that if you can put up those numbers against a team like Duncanville, you're a dude.
Yeah, Cash Schwab through the first 2 games of the year has had 25 carries for 347 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's averaging 15 yards per carry right now. And I know those big plays are what get the Bridgeland fans excited. But talking to Coach Lonnie Madison, what he loves about Cash Schwab is he can always turn something out of nothing. So even if it's not blocked perfectly up front and the run should probably go for a negative 2-yard gain, instead, Cash Schwab is taking it for 3 or 4 yards. And that's how they stay ahead of the chains and keep the pressure off the quarterback Beagle.
And guys, as you just saw, Bridgeland has won the opening coin toss. They have elected to receive, and that kind of tells you a little bit about Lonnie Madison, who's been here for a couple seasons now, since 2023 at the helm of the Bears, and kind of what he wants to do tonight, setting the tone early.
Yeah, Bridgeland last year had the best record in school history with a 12-2 finish, but last year they lost to Ridgepoint 38-21. Now that score is a little bit misleading because it was 28-21 in the 4th quarter of the ball game last year, and that really set up Bridgeland for the run, playing a team like Fort Bend Ridgepoint in week 3, where they ended up beating Waxahachie in the playoffs and then playing Duncanville really tough. So that's why these 2 teams from opposite ends of Houston meet up to play a tough game like this, because it'll set them up better for the long run in district play.
Yeah, this is one of those games. This is like a non-district playoff game to me. Ridgepoint got the win last year, so I know Bridgeland comes in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. It'll be interesting to see how they deal with that. And Ridgepoint, look, they're coming out. They feel like they have a team that can make a statement this year. What better way to make a statement than beat a tough Bridgeland team right now on a Thursday night?
And so in a matchup of unbeatens, both teams 2-0 entering week 3. To kick it away, in the 40-yard line will be the senior, number 82 for the Panthers, Nolan Revere. Bridgeland, 2 return men back deep, standing at the 8-yard line. And with the community coffee kickoff from Nolan Revere, we are underway here from Missouri City. Kickoff fielded back at the 2-yard line here by Bridgeland. Good return for the Bears up across the 20-yard line, down to the 21. On the return goes William Bowman, the senior wide receiver, and out will come the Bears offense, headlined, as we mentioned, pregame by Tyler Beagle.
And Gavin, remember what I was talking about with the 24 Division I offers on this Ridgepoint team? Well, there are only 2 players on the defense that don't have a Division I offer. So 9 guys on this defense will go play Division I football after they're done at Ridgepoint. And also, Coach LeFavors likes to rotate guys around. They played 31 guys on defense last week. We'll see if they keep rotating guys or if they stick with a starting 11.
Out comes the Bears offense, starting 1st and 10 from their own 21-yard line. Beagle, first play from scrimmage, stretches it off the left tackle, going to the junior, Cash Schwab. Good run to start the night from Schwab, and he picks up about 8 near the 29-yard line.
Really good start there for the Bridgeland offense. Great combo blocking on the left side of that offensive line. Those guys were moving some bodies, and that's why you saw that big game from Schwab.
And Bridgeland loves their offensive line. They've got a left tackle named Chase Allen, who is one of 4 sophomores on last year's team. He started at left guard last year. His father, Will Allen, was a right guard when Texas beat USC for the national championship. So he's a freak athlete to watch, the left tackle out there.
After a good gain from Cash Schwab, about 8 yards, now 2nd down and 2 for the Bears from their own 29. Handoff again, up the gut, Cash Schwab trying to plunge forward. He maybe makes it back to the line of scrimmage, no gain.
And that sets up a very interesting 3rd down right here. 2 straight runs you see from Bridgeland. They are going to feed Cash Schwab early and often, but they also love to set up RPOs with that. So a run pass option where Beagle is the captain of the ship and he can choose whether to give it to Schwab up the middle or pass it for a quick slant or something of that nature.
Bridgeland in their first 2 games dropping Pearland Dawson 35-20, and last week Katie Tompkins a drubbing of the Falcons 42-14. Ridgepoint stacks the box here, 3rd down and 2 for Bridgeland from their own 29. Handoff, 3rd straight play. Cash Schwab plunges forward. 1st down Bears across the 31. Rick LaFavors doesn't think Schwab got it. We wait for the call and the indication here.
And if he didn't get it, credit to Bryson Dossett flying downhill. I got a little confused there because his brother Mason, of course, plays for the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, Bryson Dossett, the 2nd future Division I football player in his family. Mason, who graduated 2 years ago, was a 110-meter champion in the hurdles. And that athleticism has flowed down to his brother. Also, keep in mind, Martin, the father, was an Olympian back in the day, also a Baylor Bears player.
Watching game tape heading into this game, Carter, Gavin, Dossett was all over the place. All over the place.
And as you see here from Bridgeland's apparent punt formation on 4th down and less than a yard, the Bears did not pick up that 1st down on a 3rd consecutive run to start the opening drive from Schwab. Here's the call on a penalty from Kevin Upham, our head referee. Back up the Bears now from 4th down and less than a yard to 4th and a very long 6. Bridgeland to punt it away, standing back inside their own 15. Punt is into the evening sky here in Mo City, and it hops out of bounds near the 45-yard line. We wait for the official spot, and that'll bring out the Ridgepoint offense somewhere near their own 40-yard line.
Well, Gavin, Romare Smith nearly got in the backfield to block that punt, so that is something to keep an eye on as this game goes on. Romare Smith is a game wrecker on the defensive side, but he also balls out on special teams.
Of course, he's committed to SFA with his twin brother, Robert Smith, so that's definitely a duo if you're an SFA fan to keep an eye on tonight.
And gentlemen, here we talked about pregame. Ridgepoint's got a solid offensive line, 3 top-tier Division I commits at left tackle, left guard, and right tackle tonight, but they got some speedsters out there too, as you'll see probably on this drive. So that brings out here Brody Bartee, the junior quarterback, standing in the gun, 1st and 10 from the midfield stripe. First play from scrimmage for Ridgepoint. Bartee has all day. Now he's going to tuck and run, showing off the wheels. Bartee is corralled near the 49-yard line, only a gain of a couple of feet, maybe a yard.
Terrific open field tackle by Jackson Payne, the linebacker for Bridgeland, because Bartee can scramble. He is a plus athlete back there in the backfield, but, you know, the linebacker there, Payne, really brought the pain on that tackle.
Brings up now a 2nd down and 9 from the Bridgeland 49-yard line. Bartee hands it off. Aiden Akins, the senior running back, will make his way to the 47-yard line, a gain of 2. And 3rd down and a short 7, we'll call it, incoming here for the Panthers, almost right off the bat.
Akins is one of those guys I was keeping my eye on coming into this game, Gavin, because he's really explosive. He's not a big-time recruit yet, but they ride him a lot. Him and Balin George, they're explosive guys that have flown largely under the radar.
Now on 3rd down and 7, Brody Bartee, the quarterback, will stand 5 wide, empty gun. Bartee on 3rd down, zips it, tipped in the air, deflected, and thankfully for Ridgepoint, it just hops down to the... As that brings out here Nolan Revere standing back at his own 35-yard line. We talked about Bridgeland's run to open the 2025 Texas high school football season. Ridgepoint so far, they've looked mighty impressive. Week 1, they dropped 63 in a win against Clear Springs, dropping the Chargers 63-23. And last week at Fulshear, 34-10.
And the crazy part about that, Gavin, is talking to Coach LeFavors. He said, honestly, they did not play very well last week. They had 8 penalties. At one point, they allowed Fulshear to convert 3 third downs on a 15-play drive. But the message to the guys was, hey, we still won that game by 24. Imagine what happens with the athletes we have when we play a full, clean game. And, of course, some of those early season struggles are just common with any team. But when this Ridgepoint offense and defense is clicking and playing complementary football, this is one of the scariest teams in Texas.
No doubt about it. And to counterpoint that, I'm pretty interested by what Coach Madison's Bears are bringing to the table, right? They're very disciplined on both sides of the ball. And you saw that there on that defensive stand. They were playing their position, sound technique, and filling all the gaps.
And Coach LeFavors actually compares the Bridgeland front 7 to Austin Westlake, team they had played in non-district a couple of years back, because these guys do not make mistakes and they are so technically sound.
Austin Westlake, of course, under Tony Salazar, one of the premier programs out of the Austin area and in the state of Texas, taking on Atascocita tomorrow night in one of the top games of the week in the state of Texas. This one on that list as well, as that one hops out of the end zone for a touchback with 8:04 to play opening quarter. He's going to bring back out the Bridgeland offense for drive number 2. And Powers, I'll go to you. What do you want to see Bridgeland do on drive number 2 after they stalled out 3 plays all to Cash Schwab on drive number 1?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to feed Cash Schwab to have a chance in this game, and he's going to have some success, but I would like to see them get other playmakers involved in the offense. Which wide receiver is going to step up to the challenge? Who's going to be able to be the playmaker to spread teams out and open those lanes up for Schwab? Because that's what they want to do. They want to run the rock, but they have to be able to pass the ball to make that happen.
8:04 to play, quarter number 1. No score yet. 1st and 10 from their own 20 here for the Bears. Bridgeland comes back out with Tyler Beagle. 4th straight carry to open the night. On the ground goes Bridgeland. This time it's not exactly the worst run they've had all night. It's probably one of the better ones as Cash Schwab picks up about 6.
And you've heard of Romare Smith, but how about Robert Smith, number 38, the left defensive end? He absolutely pushed to the right tackle about 2-3 yards up the field and almost made that tackle right at the line of scrimmage. That's a credit to Schwab, talking about always making something out of nothing, that junior running back is.
Schwab picks up 6, now 2nd down and 4 from their own 26 for Bridgeland. Beagle, how about 5 straight carries for Cash Schwab, who spins out of trouble initially, and then he's cut down at the line of scrimmage. No gain, and 3rd down and 4 incoming for the Bears. And Carter here, you kind of feel like maybe this is the play where, thankfully, and maybe finally, they go to the air.
Yes, maybe the play they go to the air, but really important here to point out is Dylan Bennett, the junior linebacker number 0, how he read those pull blockers, screamed downfield, and tackled Schwab in the backfield. Dylan Bennett was the first sophomore captain elected by his teammates last year in Ridgepoint history. So that shows you what these Panthers think of him.
Talk about the Ridgepoint offense. They got a stout defense to match. Here with 6:45 to go in the first, as Beagle fires far side, low, incomplete it goes off the hands of Jackson Ewing, the junior wide receiver.
And he had him open. It was just a little bit underthrown right there. He had to dive back in to try to make that catch, kind of bounced off of his hands. Tough catch to make right there. He did a great job trying to haul it in.
So 2 3-and-outs there from Bridgeland, but we saw on the first drive how Cash Schwab had a 9-yard gain. And then on that drive, the first down was there. So there are holes so far in this Ridgepoint defense that Bridgeland hasn't been able to capitalize on yet, but it's something to watch down the line if this offense can take the opportunities that are there for them.
As Balin George for Ridgepoint stands back to receive the punt from Bridgeland. George will not even have a shot at this one as it hops out of bounds somewhere near the Ridgepoint 30-yard line.
I'm not kicking it to that guy either. Committed to New Mexico, Balin George, so he's definitely a D1 guy. He gets off the line extremely fast. I've seen him with the football in his hands, and you know what? I don't want him returning it on me.
Have you noticed a theme here, y'all, in the listening to this broadcast right now? Hey, this guy's committed here. This guy's committed over to this Division I college. Coach LeFavors said, hey, he majored in biology and PE. He probably should have majored in psychology because as a coach, he's having to manage a lot of testosterone in that locker room, a lot of high-level athletes, and he's doing a good job of it so far.
That he is, as out comes the Ridgepoint offense. 1st and 10, their own 32, rumbling near side up across the 35. Mark him down at the 37. Decent carry to start the new drive from Akins.
3 hats around the ball. It seems like it's been like that for every play for the Bridgeland defense.
And I've loved how Akins has run the ball thus far. We've seen him through the first 2 games. He was the 3rd back last year behind 2 seniors, but he has 186 yards on 7.3 yards per carry this year, and he's also great in pass pro.
2nd down and a long 5. Barty dumps it near side, caught, hitting the sideline and hopping out near the 40 as he's ushered out of bounds just there. Again, Aiden Akins, this time on the receiving end from Barty.
Yeah, he's a 3-phase back. He can run the ball, he can pass pro, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So versatile and such a weapon for Barty.
And with 5:59 here to go in the opening quarter. 3rd down and a long 3 for Ridgepoint as the play comes in from the near sideline here at Ken Hall Stadium from Rick LaFavors and the OC Stephen Goodwin, that is. Three receivers lined up top for Barty, with Aiden Akins standing to his left, now shuffled to his right. They stretch it to Akins, lunging forward. Did he get the first down to the 42? It appears so. And that is indeed a first down for Ridgepoint, courtesy of Akins.
A counter rush, a first down, first down of the game, and let's see if this ignites the Ridgepoint offense.
And like Carter said, there's our first down here out of this Panther offense. Now we go to 5:45 to play in the first, and it brings up a fresh set of downs from their own 43. Barty standing in the shotgun. Akins offset to his left. He hands it off to him here. And Akins really not going to gain much of anything. Back to the line of scrimmage he goes for absolutely no gain.
And that's Kyler Buchanan, the senior linebacker, who Coach Lonnie Madison said has been just terrific to start the season. He plays outside and inside linebacker for Bridgeland. Was on varsity last year, but not a starter until this year. And you see a lot of that with Bridgeland's football team because last year, a 12-2 record, had a lot of second-year, third-year starters. So, yes, while this Bridgeland team has a lot of seniors, they haven't had a lot of playing time just yet, and that's how Lonnie Madison keeps his guys hungry. And you see them play with that hunger on the field tonight.
As Bridgeland's defense there forcing no gain on first down on the run from Akins from the 43. From that same spot now, 2nd and 10 as Barty looks to go to the air. Barty down the field. It is caught on the slide down inside the 15. On the receiving end, guess who? It's Balin George.
I try to tell you all about Balin George, man. He's one of the top under-the-radar stars in Texas high school football. Can't believe he has to leave the state to play his college ball. So if you're listening to this and you're a college coach and you're in Texas, take a look at Balin George.
The degree of difficulty on that catch is insane because he has a quarterback hanging on his shoulder pad, basically dragging his feet behind him down the field, and Barty drops in the bucket, and Balin George catches that thing with one hand. Brings it right into his body. What a terrific catch.
1st and goal now from the 10. Barty zips it over the middle. It's caught, and it is incomplete, they say. Knocked out at the last second of the hands of Balin George.
Defensive back was draped all over Balin George in tight coverage right there. No flag was thrown, so it was a clean play. Knocks the ball away. Tremendous play right there by the DB.
And Powers, that was Braden Graves, number 2, who you were very high on.
Yeah, I think he's a lock to be a 4-star after watching him through 2 games this year on complete game tape. He's always around the football. He's a complete safety.
And Graves, of course, only a junior here in this Bears secondary. 2nd and goal now from the 10. This play blown dead right from the jump. And here is Kevin Upham. It is a false start called against this Bears offense. Or against the Ridgepoint offense, I should say. Back them up down to the 15-yard line.
And I think this is a good time to bring up the offensive 12% rule that Coach LaFavors has. He got this from Iowa State. Basically, they take offensive penalties, negative plays, drops, and divide that by the total number of plays.
2nd and goal from the 15. Barty spinning out of trouble all the way back across the 25. He fires, end zone, it's caught! Touchdown, Ridgepoint! The escape act from Barty and the touchdown catch from DJ Darling gets Ridgepoint on the board first.
His 2nd touchdown reception on the year right there. Ridgepoint's receiver core is deep, and you saw it there as as the quarterback was scrambling around, gave the receiver some time to get open, and he pulled away from Graves to create the separation he needed to haul that pass in for a TD.
Yeah, that spin move from Barty was a veteran move. I love the athleticism out on the perimeter and throwing a strike on the run. The degree of difficulty there was pretty top-notch.
And the extra point for Ridge Point is knocked through. Escaping well past the line of scrimmage, way back behind it by 10 or 15 yards was Brody Barty. He delivers a dot to DJ Darling, and it's 7-0 Ridge Point. 3:56 to go, quarter number 1.
Dave Campbell's Texan Live's Athlete of the Month, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, shines a spotlight on one outstanding female and one exceptional male athlete each month who exemplify excellence on and off the field. This prestigious recognition celebrates student athletes who demonstrate remarkable athletic performance, unwavering dedication to their teams, and a commitment to their communities. Congratulations to our December winners, Cy Springs power forward Ayla McDowell and Silsby point guard Peyton Jones. To nominate your student athlete, scan the QR code on screen or visit texasfootball.com/athlete of the month. With support from Dick's Sporting Goods, we are proud to honor these young leaders who inspire their peers and represent the best of Texas high school sports.
It is 7-0. Ridge Point leads Bridgeland. 3:56 to go, quarter number 1. Here is this game on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Is presented to you by Aurora. Aurora is a leader in the autonomous vehicle space, working to make roads safer and more efficient with self-driving trucks. Their support of our high school robotics program helps empower the next generation of innovators, providing students with the opportunities to explore STEM and pursue their dreams. Thank you, Aurora, for your commitment to furthering education within our community. And guys, Ridge Point putting together a very nice drive there, going the length of the field, about 43 yards or so. Or 50 plus, I should say, from their own 43 down to the end zone.
Gavin, I heard you mentioning stem. Well, that was a great route stem by the receiver, DJ Darling. Terrific route, terrific catch. Great all around from Ridge Point. That's the exact momentum they needed. And you've seen how this team right now has flocked around the new starter, Brody Barty. And all these quarterbacks on Ridge Point deserve their flowers for handling this competition. But we've seen in the first 2 games how the offense got a little inconsistent because you're just rotating through so many voices and so many different types of throwers with so many different types of skill sets. And sometimes it just pays dividends to settle on one guy and have that one guy as a leader. And so far, Barty is rising to the challenge.
Carter, I was actually just going to ask you, you played a little quarterback back in the day yourself. I was going to ask you, and you kind of took it away, how difficult is it, to work through multiple quarterbacks? I don't know if you're ever part of a quarterback controversy yourself, or quarterback competition, but
I have been part of a quarterback competition back in my day, and it really depends on how the guys handle that quarterback competition. The players in the locker room do not splinter that locker room, and these 3 guys on Ridge Point have all been each other's biggest supporters, so they have not splintered this locker room whatsoever, and that's how you see Ridge Point has been 2-0, rotating through 3 quarterbacks. But at some point, it's time to pick one guy and roll with him for better or worse, and so far, it's for better.
As a play caller, too, I think it's an advantage because you can loosen up yourself. You can take some chances. When you have a guy that you feel confident, let alone 2 guys who you feel confident can lead your offense, it frees your playbook up a little bit.
As on the return there for Bridgeland after the Ridge Point touchdown was Henry Soiney, the senior wideout, and that brings out the Bears offense here, 1st and 10 from just shy of their own 20-yard line. The Bears will look to answer as here comes Tyler Beagle, Cash Schwab, and the rest of the Bridgeland offense. 3:49 to go, quarter number 1. Ridge Point leads by 7. Handed off to Cash Schwab, who was upended across the 20. Mark him down just shy of the 22. He gained a yard, maybe a yard and a half.
So Bridgeland, when they are running Cash Schwab to the right, is pulling their left tackle and their left guard, but Ridge Point's linebackers are keying on that movement and screaming down the field. They're staying home. They're reading their keys. That's the sign of a well-coached ball club over there. We got to see now what Bridgeland's counter is to this. I know they love the RPOs with Beagle. I think it's time we start seeing some of that, and I think Lonnie Madison's going to start dialing it up.
We'll see what Lonnie Madison here in his 3rd season. He came over from College Park back in 2023, early in the year. But he draws up here on 2nd down, a very long 9. Beagle looking to go to the air. Beagle takes a shot downfield that is incomplete across midfield. And there Beagle was looking for Jackson Ewing.
Jermaine Santana Diaz, the senior, had terrific coverage. 5'11", 180 pounds. One of those guys who will be playing college football someday on Saturday on your television. You're seeing him first tonight.
Committed to Colorado State. So he picked up some big offers before he made his decision to commit. But Colorado State is getting an absolute steal.
Takes us down to just over a tick to play in the opening quarter in terms of 3 minutes or so. It's 3:01. And now a 3rd down and 9 for Bridgeland. Beagle escaping pressure. Good moves here from Tyler Beagle, who is spun down to the 25. Won't get the first down, not even close. And it brings up 4th down and more than 5 yards to go.
You see all the hats around the ball from Ridgepoint. It shows how they're swarming this football. Forcing 3 straight 3-and-outs is impressive against this Bridgeland football team with Cav Schwab at running back, who had almost 2,000 yards last year, and Tyler Beagle, who is very experienced. And Lonnie Madison has said in his 23 years of coaching, Beagle has one of the strongest arms he's ever coached. We saw it there on the 2nd down and long play. I think we'll start seeing it more too.
We'll see if Bridgeland tries to angle this one away from Balin George. And George is going to have a shot at this one. Balin George looking for blocks. He's going to try to turn the corner. He's got the corner, and he's going to duck out near the 46. And Balin George, not the most glamorous return in the world, but it's effective, and it gets Ridgepoint into the Bears territory to start drive number 3.
And the 2 most important things of the punt returner: field the ball and get north and south. Yes, I understand maybe, hey, wasn't the most glamorous return. Looked like it could have gone for more, but getting 10 yards is just phenomenal because it sets up Ridgepoint past the 50-yard line. And Balin George has been all over the field so far in this game. He had a terrific punt return there, a one-handed catch earlier. Man, I can't believe, Powers, like you talked about, he's going to be going outside of Texas to play his college football.
Maybe he won't be, maybe maybe some schools come back around after seeing his early season tape because he has been on fire.
And Powers, you mentioned earlier that if you're Bridgeland, you don't want to kick it to that guy, and I don't think they really wanted to there, but he ended up having a shot at it, and he made something out of it.
They're playing behind the sticks. They haven't really converted, picked up a big first down yet, so you might want to try to make some things happen. Maybe they wanted to try to make something happen in the return game. Maybe he would put the ball on the ground and they could get favorable field position. Didn't work out. They kicked it to Balin George, and he made him pay.
So a timeout on the field here with 2:08 to play in this opening quarter. Ridgepoint coming out for another drive, leading by 7 as this timeout on Dave Campbell's Texan Live is brought to you by the City of Katy. Small town charm, big city convenience. Visit cityofkaty.com to learn more or schedule your visit today. And guys, we talked about the game last year. Obviously, you talked about this in a couple of games so far this season. It's a different game here in non-district or any part of the year from last year to this year. But definitely some continuity with some guys returning, especially for really the offensive line for Ridgepoint, like we talked about. 3 D1 commits that played in this game last year, Powers.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and they're really massive. These aren't just your normal run-of-the-mill offensive linemen up front. When you're talking about guys that are committed to 3 Power 4 programs in Jordan Burnett, Avery Morcho, and Hugh Smith, you're talking about guys that are just abnormal in comparison to some of the high school players that they may match up against. And you can see them open up huge holes in the run game. I think all these guys will be better pass blockers at the next level as they grow and mature, but right now it's so fun to watch them pick up pancakes and put dudes in the dirt.
So before we went to that timeout, there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on special teams by Bridgeland. This now puts Ridgepoint at the 30-yard line going in, a crucial penalty and a play you don't often see from Bridgeland.
A very disciplined Bridgeland team that we talked about pregame, and now Ridgepoint will try to take advantage. Pop pass rolling near side. And hopping out of bounds, escorted out near the 30, goes Robert Haynes IV, the senior and the future Razorback.
Great pursuit right there by Jordan Harris, the defensive back, running down an Arkansas commit, right? So that was pretty impressive. Another D1 guy there on the Ridgepoint offense.
And he's one of 3 returning starters, Jordan Harris is, in that secondary. Lonnie Madison said the secondary is the strength of the defense because the 4th guy, who's technically not the starter, Justin Curtis, also started some games last year.
Nicholas Bright, number 0, usually lined up to the bottom of your screens, a very talented corner prospect that people should be paying a little bit more attention to.
2 running backs standing to either side of Bartiche. Hands it off this time, rolling inside the 30 as he had Wynn lined up with him, and he hands it off instead. to a third running back being used who will now check out, it looks like.
Yeah, and that was number 20, Austin Lee. They have 3 backs they feel really confident about. Similar to how they had 3 quarterbacks, this Ridgepoint team is so deep that they can roll guys out in platoons. Gives them so much advantage when it gets later in the season in district play.
With so much wear and tear on the running back spot, you'd like to have guys at least 2 or 3 deep that you trust in the backfield, and so far Ridgepoint does. Barty stepping up. Now he's going to try to tuck and run. Brody Barty wisely hitting the sideline, hopping out just inside the red zone near the 19-yard line. It's a first down for the Panthers.
Okay, so the point I was trying to make earlier about the offensive 12% rule before Brody Barty so rudely interrupted with a terrific touchdown pass. Coach Rick Lefever's got this from Iowa State, and it's basically the offensive penalties, the negative plays, and the drops divided by the total number of plays, and the goal is to be 12% of less. This year, Ridgepoint has been at 18% in week 1, 29% in week 2. So far, I've seen 1 penalty tonight, and Barty is not having any negative plays thus far, doing a terrific job of managing the game.
First and 10, Ridgepoint from the 19-yard line of Bridgeland. Handoff, Brady Wynn will spin his way up to the 18-yard line, a gain of 1. Down to 30 seconds we go here in a very fast-paced first quarter at Ken Hall Stadium. And Carter, break down a little bit for me kind of what that means, those percentages you just talked about, and that what Coach Lefevers was talking about during the week. If you're not a math guy, like I'm not, what exactly does that mean?
Well, it means that if you're dropping balls, if you're having negative plays, if you're having penalties, you're getting behind the chains, you're not setting up your offense for success.
Barty fires too high, it's incomplete.
But even right there, okay, that's an incomplete pass. Incompletions are okay. What's not okay is turnovers, penalties, stuff that's going to give the other team the ball, add possessions for them. And that is where rotating 3 quarterbacks sometimes, different snap counts, false starts, inconsistencies with the voice and the skill set at quarterback led to 18% and 29% in the first 2 games of the offensive negative plays, the 12% rule, instead of keeping that around 12%.
And there on second down and long, you saw Robert Haynes. The pass sailed over his head thanks to some excellent coverage from Jordan Harris. Now it's 3rd down and 8 from the 17. Up the gut, churning forward, looking for the first down, and coming up a yard shy is Wynn to end the first quarter. And that will take us, after a very quick first quarter, to the quarter number 2, 7-0 Ridgepoint. And Rick Lefevers with a decision to make on 4th down and a yard to open up the second when we come back.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need. So you can get in, get out, and get back out there. Like, fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
We're back here to open up quarter number 2 on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, whether you're watching us as a subscriber at TexanLive.com. If you're not, you can subscribe at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. You can get games like this and hundreds, literally hundreds of more all football season. Or if you're watching us for free on YouTube, welcome to the party. I'm Gavin Moritz alongside Carter Yates and Greg Powers. Guys, we've played 12 minutes. Ridgepoint going to go for it here to start quarter number 2, 4th down and 1, knocking on the door of the 10-yard line. High snap, Barty, a little confusion, hands it off, but doesn't matter. It's going to be a first down to Aiden Akins to open up quarter number 2. And a little bit of action here after the play. You see they're right above the Ridgepoint section of your scoreboard.
That was an athletic play by Barty to grab a high snap. I love the call from Coach Lefevers. Field goals are not going to beat this Bridgeland team. When we mentioned before how Ridgepoint has been working through some early season sloppiness, the 8 penalties, the 3 third-down conversions, allowing a 15-play drive. Yes, you can beat some teams like that. You cannot beat this Bridgeland team like that. You cannot have field goals. You cannot have negative plays. And I love the aggressiveness there from Lefevre's.
Ridgepoint here with a 1st and goal from the 7, brings in an H-back. Up off the left tackle, Hugh Smith. They hand it off. Akins will churn forward down to the 3-yard line. He'll bring up a very manageable 2nd and goal from inside the 5.
I tell you what, number 70, Avery Morcho, pulling as a guard and from the guard spot is terrifying.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I like him to show off his versatility, something that he's going to need at the next level at Texas A&M. He could play inside or he could play tackle in the SEC, but getting experience in high school is great for both of those aspects.
And it looks like he's playing tackle, excuse me.
I formation, 2nd and goal from just outside the 4. Handoff. Akins tracked down behind the line of scrimmage. The Bridgeland defense ready for that one the entire way as the Panthers showed run from the start.
Jaden Johnson, the past 2 plays, I know we talked about Morcho as a pulling tackle, but Jaden Johnson was in on that tackle on the 1st down play, and then he just got a tackle for loss to set up a 3rd down. He is all over the place right now. It is a great matchup between this Bridgeland front 7 and this Ridgepoint offensive line.
Barty lines up under center now, 3rd and goal from the 6. Barty rolling near side, fires, end zone, incomplete, off the hands of his intended target to bring up 4th and goal. He was looking for Austin Lee and just missed him by just a little bit.
Pass was just a little bit too hot, just bounced off the Lee's fingertips right there and fell to the turf. Harmlessly if you're a Bridgeland fan.
And Lefevre's grabbed Barty on the sideline and said, hey, lasered that one in there. Put a little loft on that, especially when you're throwing to a running back. Yes, these guys can catch the ball, but they're paid to run. They're not paid, but they're running the ball. You know what I mean? They're not pass catchers all the time. So put a little bit of loft on that thing.
Ridgepoint instead, after what should have probably been a touchdown, will line up here for a 23-yard field goal attempt that is up. And it is knocked through by Aiden Wagner, the junior, as the Panthers extend their lead 10-0. And Bridgeland finds themselves down 2 scores with 10:15 to go here in half number 1 from Ken Hall Stadium down in Missouri City.
You'll never ever find somebody do it like me. Ow!
Yo, these Katie's are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can guard pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
You fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
With Ridgepoint now up 10-0 here with 10:15 to go in half number 1 from Ken Hall Stadium. Bridgeland set to receive in a game that the Bears would like to get something going offensively, as the Panthers now lead by 2 scores. Kick is up and away, angled towards the near side. Fair catch is called for just across the 20. And out will come Bridgeland's offense, and we've seen for the most part they've toted the rock, be it Tyler Beagle or Cash Schwab mainly. Carter, would you like to see them go to the air more, or would you like to see them continue to try to establish the run with Schwab?
This offense lives and dies on Cash Schwab, and he is what sets up all the RPO play action you can see off of it. So I would continue to work with Cash Schwab because he's like a hammer. You know, he just keeps pounding and pounding until suddenly the defense breaks at one point. You just got to keep going with him to establish the run.
Here a 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line for the Bridgeland Bears. Play fake on 1st down, it's Beagle. Fires, middle, that's caught. Hitting the far side, 1st down to the 40. Goes Jackson Gruber, the junior wide receiver.
I love the 1st down play call there, being able to throw the rock a little bit. Maybe that will start to stretch and loosen up the defense a little bit so that Schwab can be the hammer that Carter referred to. They can feed him the rock. Right now they're keying on him pretty hard, and all eyes are on Cash Schwab, so that was a pass that gets them moving in a great direction.
My eyes were on Cash Schwab. I thought he had the football. I was caught off guard, so I know the Ridgepoint defense was too.
New running back in the game for Bridgeland is Julian Martinez, the senior, as Schwab checks out for a play. Or actually, this looks like this is Schwab, who lined up at quarterback. Bit of a wildcat play there for the Bears, and it goes essentially nowhere. They lose a yard. It's the first time we've seen that here tonight as Schwab lines up in the wildcat.
And that looked like Kenny Ezeji, the junior defensive lineman. This Ridgepoint defensive front is so deep and playing so disciplined so far in this game. Cash Schwab has not had a lot of early running lanes to find.
54 Chase Allen put a dude in the dirt right there. I mean, there was a play going on, but that's what I was watching. You said his dad played at Texas?
Yeah, he was a right guard on the national championship team against USC.
2nd and 11. Beagle rolling, fires across his body. It's caught, and it's a first down and plenty more, down to the 40, as there goes Henry Soiney. And guys, they tell you as a quarterback, Carter, you know this. Powers, I know you know this too. They tell you not to throw back across your body. Beagle does it anyways, but it pays off to his advantage.
And that's the strong arm that Coach Lonnie Madison was talking about with us this week. He not only can throw the long ball, but he can laser it in on a frozen rope. And that's how, I don't want to say he can get away with throwing across his body and behind the defense, because that man was wide open, but that's how he can drill it in there.
After the completion to Soiney from Tyler Beagle, it's now 1st and 10 Bears from the Panther 40. Handoff going to Cash Schwab. Here goes Cash Schwab. Flag is down. For the moment, it's a 40-yard touchdown. There's a flag down, and it could have been in the neighborhood of holding. It looks like it might be.
Either way, terrific run by Cash Schwab. It looked like nothing was there, but he bounces it to the outside. A hole in a running lane that run wasn't even supposed to go to. That shows the vision he has and the balance. That was very impressive, even though this is probably going to come back.
That's a heartbreaker for Bridgeland. Definitely their biggest wow play of the game. Was going to put 6 points on the board right there, cut this game down to a one-score game. Just a heartbreaker on the hold, but look, positive momentum right now for the offense. They just got to do it again.
Penalties have been an early problem for Bridgeland. Remember the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the punt that put Ridgepoint at the 30-yard line going in. Now a touchdown run, 40-plus yards by Cash Schwab, taken away because of a holding penalty. This is something to monitor as the game goes on.
And a little bit out of character, too.
They got the holding call there on Stevens. 8:13 to go, quarter two. Now it's first down. And about 14 to go from the 34. Beagle is flushed. Beagle gets out of the tackle, and he hops out at the 35. May have even lost a yard. Back to the 34. Nah, got back to the line of scrimmage.
The range of Dylan Bennett on that play comes from the middle of the field, sprints out to the edge, and literally forces a sack on what I thought was going to be a 4 or 5 yard gain, maybe even a first down.
One of the more unheralded guys from a recruiting standpoint on this Ridgepoint team, but he was a sophomore captain. What did you say? The first sophomore captain in the team's history.
Yeah.
A lot of guys with offers standing around him. It's his time coming up next.
I think so too. And Ridgepoint has seniors rotated as the coin toss captains, but the team votes at the end of the season. The team voted him the first sophomore captain ever.
2nd down and 4 now. Beagle zips it, middle, incomplete.
There you have Dossett right there in coverage. He came in and made a great drive-saving tackle, drive-saving in the regards that they got the ball back and they put some points on the board. And right there you saw him flash in coverage. His brother was an awesome DB here as well, but now is a full-time wide receiver at Baylor.
And I think Dossett has a little bit of two-way ability, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's more of a defensive guy, though, right, Powers?
He plays with the defensive mentality, and that's what I love to see out of him. He's always attacking.
Now it's 3rd down and 4 from the 34-yard line here for Bridgeland. Beagle steps up in the pocket. Beagle's going to try to tuck and run for the first down. He's not going to get it. He gains 2 to bring up 4th down and short. And a good tackle there made, Powers.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was Eric Stevens flying up to make that play. He had another one of his teammates around the football with him, but he knew where the sticks was, and that was super important.
And Carter here, if you're Lonnie Madison, I think the decision's already made.
I think so, too. They're bringing in their heavy package. You got a running back who almost had 2,000 yards. Surely he can get 2 yards. Right, you're on the opponent's side of the territory. You're down by 2 scores. You need to manufacture some momentum, and this is how you do it right here.
4th and 2 here from the 32-yard line of Ridgepoint. Bridgeland trying to sustain this drive as Beagle stands back in the gun. Timeout is called. Looks like by Coach Madison. And so 7-12 here to play in half number 1. And Bridgeland, like we said, just trying to keep this drive moving on one they feel like, and one they did already score on. As Cash Schwab's long touchdown run from 40 yards was called back. And guys, you have to imagine if you're Bridgeland here, walking away from this drive after we saw a Cash Schwab do that was called back, coming in with no points would feel like heartbreak here for the Bears. You want to get points on this drive after what happened earlier.
I think so, too, because this Ridgepoint offense is explosive, and your defense is putting up a valiant effort, has forced a punt, has forced a field goal when Ridgepoint drived it inside the 10-yard line, but you cannot ask them to contain this offense forever. You got to get on the board yourself and make this a one-score game.
So to recap here, this drive for Bridgeland, their best so far on the night. As Schwab ripped off a touchdown, gets called back. Now they find themselves, do the Bears, and facing a 4th and 2 from the Ridgepoint 32-yard line. And after Lonnie Madison called a timeout, the Bears set to go for it. Beagle hands it off at Schwab, bouncing outside. Schwab won't get the first down. Needed 2, lost 1, and Ridgepoint gets a stop.
What a play right there by, I believe it was defensive lineman Chris Racy, number 52, 6'1", 235-pound sophomore, blowing that play up. I don't think that he's going to get a tackle in the stat line, but that was credit to him, getting in the backfield and forcing him outside.
Well, he blew it up, and then number 15, Preston Hall, cleaned it up. Absolutely massive stand from the Ridgepoint defense. You see how Cal Schwab is breaking tackles, but when there's so many guys riling to the football, you can't just keep breaking them forever and ever. This Ridgepoint team, someone said in the YouTube comments, there's some grown-ass men out there.
That there are here with 7:06 to go in the first half. 1st and 10 Ridgepoint after the turnover on downs from their own 33. Barty near side, that's caught across the 45, spinning down there, frustrated that he didn't go further. They mark him at the 44. Is DJ Darling, who's going to score in this one already.
Yeah, he's another one of these guys that's flying under the radar right here. Not really flying under the radar. He's a definite D1 guy. But he's another weapon. Robert Haynes, DJ Darling. I mean, these guys got the go juice.
Balin George as well. Down we go to 6:45. Clock winding down here in quarter 2. And Ridgepoint looking to pad on to an already 10-0 lead. From their own 44. Barty near side, that's low, and that's thrown a little bit behind Robert Haynes the 4th, who had to adjust to it. Thankfully makes the catch, but they do lose a couple.
But you see the Bridgeland cornerbacks right there are playing press coverage, and that was something that Lonnie Madison emphasized to us in pregame meetings. Said last year they played too soft. They allowed Ridgepoint to have the easy stuff, and the Bridgeland cornerback, Nicholas Bright, was right on that play. Even if they were able to catch it and run, Bright was right there.
Instead, a loss of 2, now 2nd and 12 from their own 42 for the Panther offense. Barty, far side, caught Balin George. And Balin George will fall forward to the 49-yard line of Bridgeland. A good gain of about 9 yards now to bring up a 3rd down, and we'll call it 3.
What a luxury to have for the Ridgepoint offense. A Balin George who they can move around and using different packages, put him in the slots, split him out wide as an outside wide receiver. Just get him a little bit of space, and he's going to be able to cook a defensive back. Didn't get to pick up a first down right there, but he picked up plenty of yardage to make it a 3rd and short situation and an easier chance to convert here.
Now 3rd down and about 3 yards to go from the 49 of the Bears. Good run. Akins trucks his way down near the 41-yard line. 1st down Ridgepoint as the drive will continue.
Akins was shot out of a cannon coming off the left side, getting north and south. No time to dilly-dally in the backfield. Just put your head down and go, young man.
Another solid run from the senior in the backfield for the Ridge Point Panthers. Aiden Akins takes us down inside of 5 minutes. Now a 1st and 10 from the Bears' 41. They go back to Akins here, and he's spun down after a gain of 3 to the 38.
I'm trying to see which number that was, Gavin. It looked like Brady Hollis, the senior linebacker. I've been very impressed with this Bridgeland linebacker core. I know the secondary is the strength of this team, but the linebacker core is flying to the football in run support.
And it's important to think about, too, because with all the weapons we talked about that Ridge Point has at receiver, you still got to focus on Akins, a very talented running back coming out of that backfield.
And again, just a testament to Akins' perseverance. Last year he was behind 2 seniors. This year getting his opportunity.
Barty play fake. Barty, end zone. Balin George just past the hands of the senior George.
That was an electric route by Balin George. And unfortunately, they couldn't connect there, but I've been so impressed, Powers, with Balin George, both in the punt return game and the receiving game.
No doubt about it. He's a guy who can flat out fly, but I have to give credit to number 7 right there, hanging tight and covered deep down the field. Had a little bit of a step on him, but he closed extremely well.
Down we go to 4:11 to play in this first half. And here's a 3rd down and 7 from the Bridgeland 38 for the Panthers. And the play is stopped with a timeout that's being called by Rick LaFavors. Another one brought to you by the city of Katy here. 4:11 to go in the first half. And guys, we've seen both teams miss on a couple of deep shots, but Carter, I like that they're taking them, especially if you're Ridge Point. They have the weapons to do it. That time just missing Balin George a couple plays back.
And that also, again, you don't want to say that every inconsistency is because they've had 3 quarterbacks in, but this is a new quarterback, a new starter. He has won the job through the first 2 weeks, and this chemistry will just continue to develop as the season goes along. Balin George is so hyper-athletic. Brody Barty has shown tremendous poise in the pocket. Those throws will come as the season progresses and we get into district play.
We already know that they can run the ball. They have a great offensive front. They can line up behind those guys and pound the ball if they need to. But to win a state championship, which is the ultimate goal for the Ridge Point squad this year, they have to be multidimensional on offense. Why not try to take a chance with Barty in this game? They're playing a good opponent right here. Let's see what he has.
Of course, both teams ranked very high here entering the week in the official rankings, in the official DCTX and AP rankings entering the week. Ridge Point, of course, in the top 10, Bridgeland in the top 20. But these 2 teams right now don't really care about the rankings. They're just trying to move to 3-0, of course.
But this game has big implications in the Houston area and also for the entire state of Texas. I mean, we call this the Rising Game of the Week. This is one of the Texas high school football games of the week.
That it is one of the very top games in the state this week. 3rd down and 7. Barty, near side, that's caught, that's Haynes. And it looks like he's going to come up a yard or 2 shy of the line to gain. And with what we've seen from Rick LaFavors and his coaching staff so far, I don't think there's any question here.
That's why they throw a pass short of the sticks. It's basically saying, hey, even if we come up a couple yards short, we've made this 4th down more manageable.
And that they did on the connection to the Arkansas commit, Robert Haynes. And so like we said, no hesitation from Rick LaFavors, who's been here since 2020 at the helm of the Ridge Point Panthers. 3:35 to go in the first half. 4th down and a very short 2. Handoff, Akins searching for the 1st down. He's pushed forward, and it looks like with the second effort and the extra effort from the big men up front, it's going to be a 1st down for Aiden Akins.
From Akins, we've seen the speed, we've seen the shiftiness, and there we see the power because he had the entire Bridgeland defense on his back, and he would not be denied for another 2 yards.
And if you're just tuning in, that was 3 P4 level offensive line commits. They were all lined up on the left side right there, and they went right behind TCU commit Jordan Burnett, big number 72.
As we inch down closer to 3 minutes here, a 1st and 10 picked up after the conversion to the Bridgeland 30-yard line. Play fake, Barty. Rolling, fires, incomplete. That went off the hands of a Bridgeland defender that draw back in coverage. That's big number 99 back there covering. That's Dylan Nicholson.
Well, it looked like Ridge Point was looking for a big play to Austin Lee, the senior running back. He was going down the seam and had to step on his defender, but the pressure was too great on Barty. It flushed him out of the pocket and forced him to throw on the one and go off of his first read.
You mentioned the pressure, and that's actually a trend that I started to notice, started to pick up on it more as this game goes along. The Bridgeland defensive front is not letting Barty be comfortable back there.
And that's the recipe for making a young quarterback uncomfortable. Get the pressure on him.
2nd and 10. They hand it. It's Akins, who runs right into a couple of Bears defenders down inside the 30, maybe gained half a yard to bring up 3rd and long.
That was Braden Graves whistling in off the edge right there. He is a nice-looking prospect. Long and rangy, flies to the football, has good first-step explosion. I think he's got about a dozen offers now. Don't be surprised, a couple months he has 20.
He's 6'3", 190 pounds, 4.5 speed, a 275-pound power clean as a sophomore last year. He is now a junior. He can play safety or he can play outside linebacker, and there we saw him hit like an outside linebacker, just stonewalled him.
I was looking at through some of the info that we had from last season to this season. Last season he was 6'1", 170. Now he's 6'3", 185.
Down we go towards the 2-minute warning. It's a 3rd down and 10. Barty, keeper. Brody Barty is brought down inside the 30 to the 27, a gain of 3. As it takes us down to the 2-minute warning, 1:58 to be exact to play in the first half. When we come back, a long 7 or so yards to go to a first down for this Ridgepoint offense when we return.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining built Ford tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough.
Introducing Elite Source Evaluators, your source for evaluating top athletes. We identify, rank, and project top high school players and provide insight and exposure that helps players stand out in the recruiting process. Get ready for the 2026 ESC Gridiron Showcase. This invite-only event brings together the top high school football talent from across Texas, giving them an opportunity to go head-to-head with the best, showcase their skills, and get recognized by colleges around the country. The road to the next level starts here.
Back we are with 1:58 to play in this first half. Ridgepoint set to go for it on 4th down and 7. Barty, 4th down, looking to convert, zips it, that is caught down inside the 10.
And that is DJ Darling. Hello, Darling. Do you need a big play? DJ is there to make it for you. Just terrific catch on 4th down. We've seen a touchdown earlier to give them their only touchdown of the game. Now a 4th down. They call for a big passing play. Look at the guts from Coach LaFavors.
How about this? Darling's also committed to New Mexico, right? So they got 2 New Mexico commits on this offense, both playing wide receiver. New Mexico's coming in and getting 2 guys that can flat out go.
And Powers, it reminds me of TJ Pride from DeSoto a couple years ago, who went to New Mexico, who was a terrific high school football player on a loaded wide receiver corps. New Mexico was always putting in work in Texas.
Now he's one of the best players in college football.
Handoff, Akins will stretch forward to the 5, maybe just inside of it, to bring up 2nd and goal here.
And for Bridgeland, this is such a critical defensive stand. You've done it once and forced a field goal now with just over a minute left, now taking down inside a minute. You do not want to go into the halftime locker room down 17-0, especially when Ridgepoint gets the ball back to start the second half.
47 seconds and trickling down. Bridgeland looking for a stop. And Ridgepoint trying to stretch this to a 3-score game if they can score and convert on the PAT. They hand it off. Akins will be upended into the end zone. How about the effort from Aiden Akins for the touchdown?
Tremendous play there by Akins to go over the top of the defensive back there, Nicholas Bright, who was flying in to make a goal line stop. Akins thwarted him by pure grit to go over there and score the touchdown.
And Powers, I saw the Arkansas commit Hugh Smith pin his defensive lineman inside to let Akins cut off his butt. Just tremendous all-around team effort from Ridgepoint. Puts them in a tremendous position, too, going into the second half. About to go up 17-0 if I didn't just jinx the kicker. And I didn't.
Excellent job on the PAT. Excellent job, Carter, as Aiden Akins upended into the end zone. He scores. The extra point is good. It's 17-0 Ridge Point. The Panthers up 3 scores here in the waning 31 seconds of half number 1 here from Mo City.
I still remember Mom leaving work early to bring me to all my football games. Long before the Friday night lights, the road to the end zone starts right here. And behind every touchdown is a mom, making sure her players get there on time. At Garage Door Doctor, we've had mom's backs for over 38 years. From simple repairs to upgrades, Garage Door Doctor keeps moms and players in the game.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more than the doctor. Garage Door Doctor.
31 seconds to play. Here in half number 1, Ridge Point just extended their lead to 17-0 over the visiting Bridgeland Bears. Here on a Thursday night opening of the Week 3 Texas high school football season. So we open up Week 3, Ridge Point trying to move to 3-0. Bridgeland here on the return. They're going to bounce it far side. And a good tackle there, cut down just shy of the 30 on the return. And out will come the Bridgeland offense with 1 timeout left, 25 seconds. And this one, to me, and I could be wrong, kind of up in the air from Lonnie Madison. I say you try to maybe at least try a play or two a little bit aggressive, but I can see the other side of it as well.
If it was 7-0, maybe take a knee, but it's 17-0. You need to manufacture some momentum. I would try to at least take 1 deep pass.
Another key point is he elected to receive the ball at the start of this game, so Ridge Point's going to get the opening kickoff in the second half, so your backs are against the wall right here.
As they line up with 4 wide receivers, Beagle will start in the shotgun. 25 seconds, 1st and 10 from their own 27. They motion a man across the formation. They hand it off, going to Cash Schwab. Here's Cash Schwab. A good run for Cash Schwab. A stiff arm. He cuts it outside, and he's upended down to the 25.
Who needs to pass the ball when you got Cash Schwab back there at running back? Talk about cash money, Schwab.
Loved everything about that run. Wished he would have got out of bounds there at the end of it to save them this time out here or a quick play, but what a run by Cash Schwab.
Well, Powers, I think Ridge Point is going to take a timeout. So interesting. I thought the same thing. Okay, I would have liked to see him get out of bounds, but Lonnie Madison elected not to take the timeout just yet. Instead, go up to the line, run a quick play, and actually Ridge Point has to call a timeout now.
And I thought, like you said, maybe he'd call a timeout there with Lonnie Madison, but it works out, like you said, to his advantage that they rushed up to the line. Ridge Point wasn't quite set on the defensive front, and instead Coach LaFavors has to use this timeout. Now they're both down to 1, and that gives Bridgeland time for about 2 plays here.
It's the perfect scenario for Lonnie Madison there, because if you use your timeout, you have 11 seconds left. And then if you run a play and get tackled in bounds, the half is over, but it's probably too deep to try a field goal.
I'm thinking points, though, Carter. I'm thinking, how can I get some points on the board? It's a 3-score game right now. If I can cut that to 2 scores heading into the halftime with positive momentum, any points here are good points.
Yes, I agree. I would like to see them get maybe to the 20 before they try to kick that field goal. I don't know the range of this Bridgeland kicker, but we might be about to find out.
11 seconds on the clock, 1st and 10 from the Ridge Point 25. Bridgeland with 1 timeout left here in the first half, searching for some points going into the locker room. Man in motion as Beagle stands in the shotgun. Beagle, straight drop. Now he's going to try to step up. Beagle fires, caught, tackled in bounds down to 5 seconds. And Bridgeland here going to have to burn that last timeout down to 3 seconds. And Carter, they do get inside the 20, and now we talk about the range of the Bears kicker.
Be a 35-yard attempt from about this spot on the field. Got to think it's in a favorable position if it's a right-handed kicker to be able to get that through the uprights right here.
And good job by Beagle, too, having that internal clock of knowing that you can't just go run and scramble and then take all the time off. You got to get the ball out. His receiver got down, able to call the timeout, and this kick will end the half. And a huge kick here, too, Powers, because you mentioned they would cut the game to a 2-score deficit instead of right now they're at a 3-score deficit.
It will be a 35-yard attempt to try to get Bridgeland on the board to end the first half for Grayson Geisler, the senior kicker. Geisler from 35. And Ridge Point, it looks like may have called that last timeout, did Coach LeFavors, trying to ice the kicker, as they say.
That's the perfect ice because the kicker already was kicking the ball, so he saw it go through the uprights, has total jubilation, and got to do that again.
It was a good kick.
Now we know he's got the range.
Yeah, it was a good kick.
Now he's got to do it again. And you like the strategy there from Coach LeFavors. I mean, you don't see every coach ice the kicker there, but most of them do, I would say. And Coach LeFavor is no different. He said, you're going to have to do this again. You're going to do it once, you're going to do it twice.
You got one timeout. You can't carry that over to the second half. Might as well use it.
Exactly right. Now he's going to make Grayson Geisler here try to replicate that perfect kick from 35 yards out to end half number one and just attempt to get Bridgeland back within 14. Grayson Geisler from 35 once again. This one on the way. Geisler said, ice me, doesn't matter. Ice in my veins.
And
it's 17-3.
And he has something to say to the Ridge Point faithful. What do we always say on this broadcast? There's no such thing as icing the kicker when the kicker's got ice in his veins.
I love to see a little kicker celebration right there. He made 2 field goals in a row. He might as well celebrate a little bit.
And that he did. That takes us to the break here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Again, whether you're watching us on TexanLive.com, go hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube for free, here's a taste of what we got at the half, at the break. Ridge Point 17, Bridgeland 3 here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live from Missouri City. And as we welcome you back in here for half number 2 on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, it's the DCTX Rising Game of the Week. Whether you're watching us on TexanLive.com or on YouTube, I'm Gavin Moritz, Carter Yates, Greg Powers, Mallory Hartley here in the booth with us. And guys, we've got a 17-3 game as we open up the third quarter, but it's important to note Ridgepoint leads 17-3. Powers, they also get the ball.
Yeah, this is an important drive for the Bridgeland defense. They can't afford to let Ridgepoint put more points on the board. And the reason why I say that is this has been a methodical offense. Outside of an occasional Cash Schwab long run, they've been moving the ball very efficiently, but no big wow plays. There were 2 runs. One came back on a holding, and one set up the field goal at the end of the first half. So Schwab has some go juice to be able to put points on the board. But by and large, they just like to move the rock in short bursts.
And that run by Schwab at the end of the half was terrific and a big play for Bridgeland because it allowed them to cut the game to a 2-score deficit instead of going into the half down 17-0. But the Bridgeland offense, you mentioned Powers, very methodical. They like to lead on the run. It's about 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, and that doesn't necessarily play to your strength when you're down by multiple scores. That's why this defensive series is so important and critical for Bridgeland.
And here as we kick off half number 2 on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, it'll be Bridgeland kicking it away to Ridgepoint. After Bridgeland kicked that field goal 35 yards to end the first half to finally, thankfully, get some points on the board. If you're a Bears fan watching from Cypress or somewhere else, it was Grayson Geisler, the senior, who knocked it through from 30+. They angle it towards the near sideline. Second half underway, reeled in, and it's going to be a return here for Robert Haynes. Haynes backtracking, and he's brought down back inside the 20.
Tremendous coverage there. And how about this, Carter? You kick it to the up man, and he's an Arkansas commit.
There is no kicking it away from an athlete if you're Cypress Bridgeland, but the coverage team, excellent job of everyone staying in their lanes. A lot of times if you kick it to an up man on the far right side of the field, everyone has a tendency to flow towards the football, get undisciplined in their coverage lane, and then that end around sweeping motion actually works for the Arkansas commit, but instead does not because everyone stayed disciplined.
That they did as Robert Haynes IV, the future Razorback, lost plenty of yardage there on the return. And as a result, Ridgepoint will start 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. They hand it off to start the second half, and it's going to be Aiden Akins who cuts forward for a gain of about 3.
Number 44 linebacker Brady Hollis has had a bunch of hit sticks tonight for this Bridgeland defense. I know Akins has had a couple of runs where he's really broke loose, but by and large, this front 7 of Bridgeland has been really solid. And we talked to Coach LaFavors, of course, this week, and he said they really remind him of the Austin Westlake defensive front 7 coached by Tony Salazar. That is high praise.
Austin Westlake, they're having one of the best units in the state in that regard, as here's Barty looking to air it out. Fires, middle, incomplete. There was a defender right in front of where that football was supposed to go, and Barty, lucky that one wasn't going back the other direction.
There was your guy again, Carter, 44 right there, getting into some pass coverage, getting his hands on the ball, getting in the middle of that throwing lane.
And it looked like Barty didn't see the Mike linebacker there. And it could have been a disastrous play. Lucky to get that ball back. Barty has made a lot of excellent decisions tonight. Very rarely have seen him put the ball in harm's way, so I expect him to bounce back pretty well.
11:08 to go. Third quarter now brings up against Ridgepoint a 3rd down and 6. Here from their own 23 is the Bears defense looking to get a much-needed stop to start half number 2. Barty on 3rd and 6. Airs it out, downfield looking for his man. It's caught with a flag down inside the 35. It's Balin George.
What a catch by Balin George. The defensive back was hanging all over him. I'm interested to see what this call's going to be right here. I'm going to guess it's a DPI, but there was some hand fighting going on between the wide receiver and the defensive back down the field. And it looks like the Fort Bend Ridgepoint offense is staying down here.
And we'll wait on the call here as it was an excellent sliding catch by Balin George. Pass interference is the call against the defense. Balin George, huge catch. Powers, take it away.
Hey, The time is now. Balin George is the newest DCTX 3-star. Right now, Balin George, the New Mexico commit, 6 foot, 165 pounds. He is a slick route runner with elite acceleration and quickness. Congrats, George. You're the newest 3-star prospect on TexasFootball.com.
And there you have it right here on our airwaves during the DCTX Rising Game of the Week. Balin George just got named a 3-star. One of his better catches of the night. He's had a couple just like that. Now it's 1st and 10 from the 35 after the deep shot to the senior George.
Balin George has been so impressive tonight. We were talking at halftime, and Powers was describing how you watch Balin George's get off when the ball is snapped. His 0 to 100 speed happens so quickly, and that gives him such an advantage over opposing defensive backs. I've been extremely impressed with his punt return ability, with his catches in traffic. I think he is well-deserved of a 3-star ranking.
Dude with 20 offers told me he was the best route runner in Texas before the game.
Love the confidence and the ability from Balin George. Fire far side, does Barty. It's caught. And down to the 31-yard line on the reception. Good gain. Goes Ramsor.
I can't see the number from here, but the cornerback on the far right side for Bridgeland pushed the wide receiver back all the way into the backfield, then came off the block and made the tackle. Basically made that play by himself. It looked like, I don't know if we see a number there. I'll try to see where it looks like. It looks like number 0.
Bright's right. Hey, Bright's one of those guys, man. Like Bright can play. He's one of these guys in this game that I think more colleges should be taking a look at.
Bridgepoint runs it here and stonewalled at the 30-yard line. Only a gain of a yard. Goes Akins. Aiden Akins, really not much running room there, and just like that, it's going to bring up 4th down in Ridgepoint. Interesting play call. It goes from a 3rd and 6 to a 4th and 5. But if you're Rick Lefevers, you run it there, trying to catch him maybe off guard because you know you're going for it anyways.
Either catch him off guard and get a 1st down, or just make it a more manageable 4th down. Would have liked to see more than 1 yard on that play, but sets up 4th and 5.
4th and 5 as Barty stands back in the gun. Ridgepoint trying to keep this drive moving along. 8:45 to play in the 3rd. Barty, 4th down, end zone. Balin George can't reel it in. Barty just overshot him.
I'm coming to expect him to just catch anything that's in his general vicinity. Like, I could see that the ball was a little bit overthrown right there, but I thought maybe there's a chance he hauls it in. He almost got his hands on it.
Terrific defensive stand from Bridgeland. Could not afford to give up any sort of points there. It is still a 2-possession game. Now you give your offense some room to work here, especially after they just had a big run and a big drive to end the half. Let's see if they can have some momentum.
One of the things I've noticed difference in this game compared to some of the other games is they're using Graves a little bit more in the box, and they have a couple of safeties back there to compensate for that. Number 7 there has had a pretty good game.
Here comes Tyler Beagle, Cash Schwab in the Bridgeland offense. 1st and 10 from their own 30. They start the drive with play action. It's Beagle. He stops, he throws, that's low and that's incomplete. Looks like Beagle maybe wanted to go a little bit deeper than he did. Only goes 10 yards down the field and it's ultimately incomplete.
And a throw on 1st down is not like what we saw in the first half. It was run on 1st down, run on 2nd down, and then probably a run on 3rd down. Already seeing some more aggressiveness from this Bridgeland offense in the second half.
8:29 here to go in the 3rd. Bridgeland now facing a 2nd down and 10. Pinned back at their own 30-yard line. A trio of receivers down low, man in motion out of the backfield. Beagle, tunnel screen, it's caught, it's low but reeled in anyways, as Soini makes the catch.
There's Aaron Williams right there on the tackle, and this is a recruit that people need to know about because he's a 2027 prospect, 6'1", 200 pounds, has safety skills. He's very athletic, and he has schools all over the country chasing him, including in-state offers from schools like Baylor and Houston. So just one of those guys that everybody needs to know about.
He made the tackle there on the tunnel screen, and on that 1st down play, he was the one with the pass breakup, so been very active in this first drive.
And now if you're Bridgeland here, you're chasing points, and now you're chasing 6 yards on 3rd down. From your own 34, 7:45 to go in the 3rd. 3rd down, it's play action for Beagle. Near side, low, just off the fingertips it goes. He maybe sailed that one just a little bit. in the direction of Jackson Gruber, the junior.
And I think for the Bridgeland passing game, the routes have been there and the throw has been there, but it's just they aren't connecting, and it's so close. You can see that they are right there. If they can just start connecting on some of these plays that Fort Bend Ridgepoint is giving them, they can get back into this football game, but the passing game has been a little inconsistent so far.
That was giant outside linebacker Preston Hall, 6'2", 215 pounds, committed to UCF.
Bears now forced to boot it away. Punt is just off and just away from being nearly blocked, and this one's scooped up by Balin George. George here trying to make something out of seemingly nothing. Flag down. Balin George out of bounds, just shy of midfield. And Rick LaFavors, he sprinted down the Ridgepoint sideline. He is none too pleased with what appears to be a penalty against the Panthers.
Because another tremendous return from Balin George, and this one's going to have to come back because of a holding penalty or a block in the back. I'm not sure which just yet. Guys, did Balin George switch his gloves at halftime? He was wearing orange gloves. I could have swore it.
He put on his 3-star gloves.
Yeah, we expedited him some DCTX gloves down there. That's meant the 3-star status, right? As the penalty does go against Ridgepoint, and like you guys said, it's going to wipe out a great return from Balin George, who hopped out a couple yards shy of midfield, as we did have a bear shaken up at the tail end of that play. He's being walked towards the Bridgeland sideline. And Ridgepoint is going to start backed up here.
I believe the last time they started a drive on the 19-yard line, they scored a touchdown. So we'll see if the offense has the same amount of luck on this drive.
It'll be 1st and 10 here for the Panther offense. They start pinned back deep into their own territory.
Check that, starting this drive on the 14-yard line.
Either way, it's tough starting field position because of a penalty. We've seen Ridgepoint have a lot of great field position to start their drives. Now they're going to have to do some work.
So 7:22 on the game clock here in the third. The play clock has not started yet. Ridgepoint took a little bit getting their play call sent into the offense as Brody Bartee finally back out and he stands in the pistol. Pitch out here going to Austin Lee. And Austin Lee brought down near the 15-yard line, it looks like. Only a short gain for Lee to bring up 2nd down and long.
Number 4, Jordan Harris, one of those returning starters, flew in like a heat-seeking missile to play in run support. This defensive secondary from Bridgeland returns 3 of 4 starters. Coach Lonnie Madison said this is the strong point of their team, and we've seen that so far.
2nd down, they go back to Lee. This time he gains another yard, maybe 2 to the 18. Bring up 3rd down, and we'll call it about 6 here.
Good play by the defensive lineman right there to redirect the offensive lineman, using his hands to get off a block and chew up that running back near the line of scrimmage.
And another big 3rd down here to start this 3rd quarter. We've had a couple of these for either side now, and Ridgepoint now gets another crack at it on 3rd, and they call it 7 from the 18. As Brody Bartee stands back with 6:10 to play in the 3rd, and the play is blown dead at the snap. And it is going to be a false start called against Ridgepoint.
And that goes back to the offensive 12% rule that Coach Rick LaFavor spoke of. Offensive penalties, negative plays, drops, divide that by the total number of plays. The goal is to be 12% or less, and through the first 2 games, Ridgepoint has been 18% and 29%. I believe that is only the 2nd offensive penalty. I don't think they've had many negative plays, so they have cleaned it up, but that false start comes at a crucial time.
Now it goes from a 3rd down and 7 to a 3rd down and about 12. Dumps near side. This is Aiden Akins trying to shake off a couple defenders, and he's hammered out across the line to gain. Took a shot at the end of the play. He's got a 1st down. Doesn't matter.
I love the tough running right there from Akins. Lowers his shoulder, delivers a statement at the end of that run.
Such a backbreaker for the Bridgeland defense. You had him at 3rd and 11, a chance to get the ball back, and instead you get this Port Bend Ridge Point offense life, already up 17-3, trying to drive in to make this a 3-possession game. You got to be able to stop them on 3rd and 11.
Keeps the clock running here, 5:29 and counting in the 3rd quarter.
Akins here slung down well behind the line of scrimmage. He loses 2, maybe even 3, back to the 24-yard line.
Jaden Johnson, number 94, the senior, has been very active tonight. He almost seemed like he came in unblocked there, Powers. I couldn't see what happened.
This is a very solid defense. The Ridge Point offense is loaded up with stars all over the place, right? This Bridgeland defense plays within themselves. They play structured defense. They don't get out of position often.
Under 5 to go here in quarter 3. It's now going to be a 2nd down and 12 here for the Panthers. As Barty receives further play calls here from this near Ridge Point sideline. 2nd down and long. Near side, caught George. Balin George spins off the initial tackle, maybe 2 or 3, and he gains good yardage out of it up to the 28.
That's what you need on a play like that. Gang tackling, right? You need more than one guy to get George down.
He's never going to get tackled by the first guy. I'm starting to notice Fort Bend Ridge Point draining the play clock. We're already inside of 5 minutes. It feels like we just started this 3rd quarter. With the way that Bridgeland's offense has operated, it feels like a 3-score deficit could almost be insurmountable, and I think Ridge Point senses that, and that's why they're slowing it down, letting the play clock go below 10 seconds every time.
Ridge Point here trying to drive the length of the field. They started this drive back at their own 14, and almost as importantly, trying to eat some clock here. Barty fires, it's caught, but laid out immediately is Akins, and fired up, rightfully so, is Braden Graves, who we've talked about a lot.
Powers up. Braden Graves, that is a man out there.
He's flat out special. Houston, Kansas, Oregon State, San Diego State, Texas State, Tulsa, Utah, UTSA. I'm asking the LSUs, the Oklahomas, the Oklahoma States, the Texases, the Texas Techs. Don't wait to offer this guy. The time is now. Braden Graves is going to pick those offers up. Why wait?
Beautiful read. We saw Ridge Point convert a 3rd and 11 off a halfback out route. They tried to do the same exact thing, but Brave sniffed it out.
And now Ridge Point forced to boot it away. Fair catch not called for. They're going to try to return this one up to the 32, maybe the 33. And Bridgeland's offense will come back out. Here as this game on Dave Campbell's Texan Live is brought to you by Higginbotham, a proud sponsor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the Most Driven Team Award. Learn more at texasfootball.com/most-driven-team. And also by Body Armor, more than a sports drink. And guys, if you're Bridgeland, obviously there's less time on the clock than you'd have liked. You probably would have liked to have scored and driven down and gotten in the end zone on that first drive you had here in the 2nd half. But I think with 3:03 to go in the 3rd, they'll take still being down 17-3. In the sense of in the fact that this probably could be a 3-score game here once again.
The defense is held extremely tough. Now it's time for the offense to reward them and play some complimentary football. We've seen moments where Cash Schwab has been able to break loose. The 40-yard touchdown run that was called back. And then the play right before half where he drove him into field goal range off of one run. So it is there. It just has not been consistent.
Even a sustained drive is optimal right here. We're college football fans. We're NFL fans. We're constantly watching the game. One of the most frustrating things is when your defense is playing really good, but the offense can't keep them off the field. So I think running some clock, getting some favorable field position right here at worst is what you're looking for out of this drive. But points on the board, hey, cherry on top.
Here's Beagle, here's Schwab, and here's the Bridgeland offense. They start from their own 33-yard line. They run it to Cash Schwab. Here's Cash Schwab cutting it back. Schwab still on his feet, and he's finally brought down to the 46.
And that's where you see how special he is. Very rarely ever gets brought down by the first guy. But I saw the left tackle, Chase Allen. We've talked about him plenty tonight. Was one of 4 sophomore starters on Bridgeland's 12-2 team last year as a left guard. Now at left tackle, he had the crucial block that sprung Schwab, and Schwab did the rest.
Gets Bridgeland down to the Ridge Point 46 with 2.5 to go in the 3rd. The Bears in business. They hand it off to Schwab, and a flag is down right at the snap of the football.
While we wait on the penalty, I'll make a call out here to Austin Holcomb, an offensive lineman that's not able to play in this game, 6'5", 285-pound junior at Bridgeland. Whenever he gets back on the field, that will give them another big body up front to open up some of those holes for Schwab.
This offensive line is big, physical, and athletic. Talking to Coach Lonnie Madison, he said they all bench 315. They all run about 4.9, 5 flat. Really solid offensive line. Really great at the technique, too. Well-coached ball club all around.
After the false start, they're now facing a 1st and 15 back to their own 49. Beagle, play fake, middle, tipped, incomplete, knocked down by a Ridge Point defender who was right there in position to make a play on the football.
So that's the RPO. We've been speaking about how everything is built on Cash Schwab running the football because you're running with him a couple of times, then you pull the ball in an RPO and throw that thing out there. But Ridge Point is so long and athletic, it's hard to find throwing lanes.
And that was Preston Hall that knocked that one down, and Bridgeland will now face a 2nd down, and they call it about a long 14 here, just a yard shy of the midfield stripe. Man in motion for the Bears. Beagle hands it off to Schwab. And Cash Schwab finds his way to the 49, maybe the opposing 48, a gain of 3. And once again, going to be 3rd down and long here for the Bridgeland Bears.
If I'm LaFavors, I love that 9 hats were around there, right? 9 dudes were around that football. It was a play in the middle of the field. Everybody rallying to the ball. Everybody cares about making a play.
And that's how you have to be as a defense when you're facing a running back of Cash Schwab's caliber. You're not going to completely stop him, but you have to slow him down. And the only way to slow him down is to gang tackle.
Bridgeland here is going to go 5 wide on 3rd down and 12. Beagle by himself. Bears looking to convert. 3rd and long. Beagle steps up. Nowhere to go. He's going to try to dance, tuck, and run. And Beagle's going to have the 1st down and then some. Tyler Beagle, 1st down inside the 30.
Oh, he made a miss in a phone booth, Gavin. I didn't know this QB had wiggle like that.
Impressive run right there, and at a key point in this game. They had to convert, and now they're moving in here, 32-yard line, marching in, trying to get it 6 points on the board.
Tyler Beagle wiggles his way down to the 27-yard line. 1st and 10, Bridgeland. They faced a 3rd and 12. It did not matter for the legs of Tyler Beagle. And the Bears keep this drive moving along deep inside the Ridge Point 30-yard line. Beagle, play action. Now he's got time. Now he's going to fire towards the end zone. It's incomplete, and that one should have been picked off.
Ridge Point was all over that. They had bracket coverage on the receiver that Beagle was attempting to throw to. Bryson Dossett had the pass breakup. Dossett's been all over the field tonight, Greg Powers.
Yeah, he's a really solid player. He's already got 4 offers, 4 opportunities to play at the D1 level. Of course, I'm keeping an eye on Baylor and his recruitment. His brother Mason there at Baylor right now, and his father, of course, played there as well. I believe his mother also a Baylor attendee.
37 seconds to play in this 3rd quarter now. 2nd and 10 for the Bears from the 27. Here's Cash Schwab. Schwab kind of backpedals and stumbles forward, but he falls across the line to gain. That's a 1st down for Bridgeland on a tremendous play to stay on his feet from Cash Schwab.
He's really getting in his bag now. I mean, stuff is starting to happen, really positive runs every time Cash Schwab touches the rock. And he's just one of those guys. He falls forward, right? And that's what you're looking for. Pick up the 1st down, move the chains, fall forward, get that extra yardage.
As Schwab stumbles for the 1st down, it's now a 1st and 10, a fresh set here picked up to the 16 for Bridgeland. The final seconds here may trickle away in the 3rd. Bridgeland not going to run another play. We have played 3 complete quarters here at Ken Hall Stadium down in Fort Bend County, Missouri City. 17-3, Ridge Point leads as we go to the 4th here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
At Higginbotham, we put people first. So we simply start by listening to you. Whether you're searching for customized insurance, HR, or financial solutions to protect your home, car, health, business, or employees, our specialists are here to serve you, the people you care about, and your success. Higginbotham, insurance, HR, and financial services. Inspired by you.
legacy, that isn't built in 4 quarters. It's how you change the game. Icons don't copy or imitate. They build and innovate. You can study the film. He's flipping the script. Milestones, just the results of the work. Never the reason for it. He never chased stats, but the numbers do speak.
As we open up quarter number 4 here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. I mean, if you're enjoying a game like this, how about a bunch of games all in one place? How about the after party? It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Ashley Pickle, Greg Tepper, 10:30 p.m. every Friday night. Stream for free on TexanLive.com, YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram. Wherever you stream, we are free, and it's Texas Football Tonight, live on our airwaves.
Gavin, there's no other high school football show that is as comprehensive, talks about the entire state, every classification, as Ashley Pickle and Greg Tepper on the after party. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, one of my favorite shows. It is go-to viewing for my Friday night.
The Friday night lights are the party. Greg Tepper and Ashley Pickle, the after party. And this past weekend, I went to the after party after that party.
The party just keeps on going. We open up the 4th, and Bridgeland down to the 16-yard line. 1st and 10. Beagle opens up the 4th with a strike that is dropped inside the 15. Off the hands it goes of Stevens.
Beagle has got an arm on him. He can laser that thing in there. I know we've said the pass game has been a bit inconsistent tonight, whether the ball is just a little bit out of reach of a receiver or the ball is dropped by a wide receiver, but you see how they are still working through some early season kinks, and this passing offense should be really dangerous as the season goes along. This is why you play teams like Fort Bend Ridgepoint of their caliber in non-district play.
2nd and 10 now from the Ridgepoint 16. They hands it off here to the near side goes Julian Martinez, who is ushered out just shy of the 7. And so not Cash Schwab. They go to Martinez. They change pace a little bit, and now it sets up a 3rd down and about a yard or 2.
11 minutes and 49 seconds here in the 4th quarter. Still plenty of time, especially if they can cash it in here for 6 for Bridgeland to make sure that they stay in this game and make a run here in the 4th quarter.
It's a nice read by Martinez, too, because it looked like that was supposed to plunge up the A-gap. Instead, he bounces it outside. How disheartening is that for a Fort Bend Ridgepoint defense? Hey, Cash Schwab's out. Oh, they've got another guy who's also really good, too.
3rd down in the yard from about the 7. Play fake, Beagle. Beagle nowhere to go. He fires, end zone. It's incomplete. It's broken up. And that is a great defensive rep from Jordan Mitchell.
Jordan Mitchell was on him like a blanket. I mean, there was very little room to fit that ball into. Now it sets up a 4th and 1. I think you got to go for this, Greg Powers.
Yeah, I'm going for it right here. No question in my mind. You got Cash Schwab. You got Beagle.
As it stands, I see Cash Schwab and Julian Martinez. They're going to be lined up with Tyler Beagle somewhere in the backfield. 11:43 left. 4th down in a yard. Inside the 10, Bridgeland has to convert. They hands it off. It's Schwab. Cash Schwab cuts and finds the end zone. Flag is down. For the moment, it's a touchdown for Bridgeland.
If this is coming back, it will be an unfortunate penalty because Cash Schwab was going to score there no matter what.
And this one is indeed coming back, and that is another back-breaking penalty for Bridgeland against Bridgeland on another Cash Schwab touchdown run.
Second Cash Schwab touchdown run that has been called back. His stat line is going to be impressive tonight, but those who have watched this game will know how much more impressive it could have been. There's been 2 penalties on Cash Schwab touchdown runs and then also an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on a punt return that ended up giving Ridgepoint the ball at the 30-yard line going in. There's been some costly penalties on Bridgeland tonight.
And it goes from a Cash Schwab touchdown from inside the 10 that would have made this in all likelihood a 1-score game to now a 4th and 11 all the way backed up to the 17. And it just got that much more difficult here for Bridgeland to convert once again. 4th and 11. Here's Beagle. Got to have it. Beagle throws. That one's incomplete. Beagle got laid out as he released it. No flag. Turnover on downs.
Great pressure there from the Fort Bend Ridgepoint defense. They went basically all-out blitz, bringing 6 guys there to try to get pressure on Beagle, and it worked.
And the pressure caused Beagle to throw the ball before he wanted to. It looked like a bit of an option route for that wide receiver where he can run a fade, or if the cornerback is hanging on top of him, he could cut it down for a hitch. And there was some miscommunication because Beagle had to get rid of it so quickly that he threw the fade, the wide receiver ran the hitch.
11.5 to play. Ridgepoint going to come back out trying to churn some clock here as Barty and Akins will line up back in the shotgun formation. Barty's flushed. He throws, it's caught, and that should be out of bounds. No, they're going to say it's a catch. And what a catch it was for Robert Haynes, who slid along the sideline. Wow.
It's an embarrassment of riches for Fort Bend Ridgepoint to have Balin George and Robert Haynes. Offense is so explosive, and we've talked about the Bridgeland defense having just a tremendous effort tonight, but this Fort Bend Ridgepoint offense is going to get theirs.
Now 11:18 left to play. Clock is stopped for the moment after Haynes slid out of bounds, but it's a first down either way to the 31 for Ridgepoint. They hand it off here, nowhere to go. A trio, maybe even a quartet of Bears bringing down Akins well behind the line.
What a second half by 44, Carter. Yeah. I know that you like him.
Brady Hollis is so impressed tonight. Been on multiple run-stopping plays. There he cuts through the offensive line, reads his keys beautifully. Just textbook linebacker play from the senior.
Down we go to 10:50 here left to play. It's now a second down and long. Exactly 12 yards to go here for this Panther offense. Barty. He looks, he throws. That one's deflected and incomplete. The Bears try to jump the route. They do. And if you're a Ridgepoint fan, you are lucky that one fell incomplete. As we have a player down on the field in the Bridgeland secondary, 10:40 left, we will step aside.
Legacy, that isn't built in 4 quarters. It's how you change the game. Icons don't copy or imitate. They build and innovate. You can study the film. He's flipping the script. Milestones, just the results of the work. Never the reason for it. He never chased stats, but the numbers do speak. And 1-5 says 1 of 1.
Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
After an official's timeout was called on the field, we had an injured Bear down on the field. We hope everything's all right there with the Bridgeland defender. 10:40 left, third down, 12 yards to go for Ridgepoint.
Gotta have it here for the Bridgeland defense.
Bears looking for a stop. Panthers looking to convert. Barty rolling left, throws, caught, and brought down well shy of the line to gain is DJ Darling. And it should bring up another punting situation here, and it will for Ridgepoint.
That's the second time this half, Greg Powers, that Braden Graves has made a third down stop in coverage.
Yeah, he ran him down. I mean, Darling is definitely a clear-cut D1 guy committed to New Mexico. Braden Graves shows off his skill set, pursuing him out to the edge and bringing him down short of the chains.
Punt here is up and away from Ridgepoint. That one will hop back inside the 30. Bridgeland will call out Peter. Stay away from that one. It's down to the 26 with 9:51 left to play.
9:50 left in this ball game, down 17-3. It's getting late early. You still got enough time to make this ball game, but it's got to be now for the Bridgeland offense. Need a touchdown here. I don't even think a field goal will do because that would still be a 2-possession game.
Going to take you through some scores here while we have a little bit of a lull. TexasFootball.com/scores. Katy Maid Creek 42-27 over Katy Taylor right now in the third quarter. And how about this one, Gavin? Humble Summer Creek 78-0 over Spring in the fourth quarter.
Yeesh. 9:51 left to play. Summerrica wagon there out of the Humble ISD area. Here flushed is Beagle. He's going to throw. That one's picked off by Ridge Point. Beagle throws an INT. Ridge Point on the return, upended inside the 20. And that is Jordan Mitchell.
Jordan Mitchell called his name a few times tonight. That's the defensive play of the game. Just halts any momentum Bridgeland had. Give your offense the ball in the red zone. Now, what a play there from the Ridge Point defense, who has come up time and time again tonight.
He closed extremely quickly on that. Beagle is not a guy who makes mistakes with the ball, but credit to the defensive back there. It was his closing speed that forced that turnover.
And Ridge Point here is going to start right at the edge of the red zone, just a couple feet outside the 20-yard line. And guys, I don't want to say a score here puts it away by any stretch, but we got 9.5 to play. We got the clock running a little bit here. I'm not sure what that's about.
The game wouldn't be over if Ridge Point scores here,
Right.
but it would be starting to come out of reach. The Bridgeland offense would need to score quickly, and we've just not seen that from their offense tonight. They need to sustain drives with the run game to go down the field pretty methodically. If Ridge Point scores here, they need to hit chunk plays quick.
This is the time you lean on that offensive front, right? You got 3 P4 commits up front. Left tackle 62, Hugh Smith, playing right next to him. Number 72, Jordan Burnett. And then at right tackle, Texas A&M commit Avery Morcho.
And so it looked like, based on the indication, that there was a timeout called. I don't think that's the case. They're going to bring the offense for Ridge Point back out very quickly from what looked like a timeout huddle. 9:36 left. And Ridge Point here will try to eat a little bit of clock and try to get back into the end zone. Barty instead looks to take to the air. He throws. That is caught. Shaking to the outside, hitting the corner, and walking in for the touchdown is DJ Darling. Hello, Darling. Hello, touchdown number 2.
That move he put on the secondary player was filthy. New Mexico has 2 fantastic wide receivers on Fort Bend Ridge Point that are committed to them right now.
Scoring his 3rd touchdown of the season right there. Darling got to shake and bake that defender a little bit. That was something that I wanted to see out of his game. That was one of my question marks coming into this one. We've seen Darling be able to stretch the field a little bit. I didn't know that he possessed the ability to put somebody in the blender like that.
As Ridge Point knocks through the PAT, it is 24-3 Panthers with 9:26 left, and Bridgeland set to get the ball back. They got to get something going here in a hurry when we come back here on Dave Campbell's Texas Live.
Oil change time. Candace. Remember when your boyfriend said he knew a guy who didn't know what he was doing?
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change. No appointment needed. For service you can see and experts you can trust.
Come enjoy the heart of Katy, Texas, a family-friendly hometown rich in traditions and heritage and one of the most delightful cities in the Lone Star State. It's a short drive from Houston and minutes from the Energy Corridor. With places to stay and places to play, anything you'd like to eat, and an old town charm that can't be beat. Activities and fun for the entire family. Enjoy the best of both worlds in the City of Champions, Katy, Texas. For more information, go to cityofkaty.com.
As we welcome you back, whether you're watching us here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, either on TexanLive.com if you're a subscriber. If you're watching us for free on YouTube, we got more games just like this every single week of the Texas high school football season, and even beyond that into every other sport you can think of. Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Get to texasfootball.com/subscribe for more. And guys, if you're just now tuning in, Ridge Point just took a 24-3 lead after an interception along that far sideline there by Jordan Mitchell before Brody Barty found DJ Darling. Shake and bake, Darling did the rest again.
Darling's got 2 touchdowns tonight. I love this wide receiver core from Fort Bend Ridge Point with Balin George, who was named a DCTX 3-star, and DJ Darling, both of whom are committed to New Mexico.
Shaping up here to be a good return for Bridgeland. It is up across the 35, out of bounds to the 38. The Bears needed at least something positive on the return, and they get it, courtesy of Stevens. As Micah Stevens hops out across the 38-yard line, out will come the Bears offense, and there's no other way to put it, guys. They got to go.
Yeah, I mean, 9:19 left in the ball game, 24-3, 3-score deficit. Need chunk plays, need a quick score. It's been tough sledding for the offense tonight. Cash Schwab has broken out for 2 touchdowns that were called back. Other than that, it's been about 3 yards, 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and it's just really hard to maintain against a Ridgepoint defense that is this athletic.
Following the interception, here's Beagle. He's going to hand it off to Cash Schwab. And Schwab will stumble across the 42 to the 43, a gain of 5.
We've talked a lot about the Fort Bend Ridgepoint offense throughout the night. They've got some explosive playmakers, but credit to this defense. 3 points, the whole Bridgeland at 3 points late into the fourth quarter. The lowest scoring output last year was 13 points against Duncanville.
Yeah, 9 Division I football players, guys with Division I football offers on the Ridgepoint defense. This is one of the most loaded rosters in the state of Texas. That's why people in the Houston area are so excited. And if this score holds, this is a statement game for Fort Bend Ridgepoint. 2 of the better teams in the greater Houston area, and one game that really we call it the Rising Game of the Week. Man, the state of Texas had this penciled in as a game of the week, but it's pretty much been all Ridgepoint.
And guys, speaking of the DCTX Rising Game of the Week, we got more coming up all season long, essentially. Let us know if you want to see another game next week. If you got a Week 4 game on your calendar that's on a Thursday you're looking forward to, we may be there. Who knows, right? Let us know in the comments here if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Texan Live. Tweet us at DCTF. Follow us on Instagram at Dave Campbell's, Facebook at Dave Campbell's as well. Let us know where you want us to be next week here for the DCTX Rising Game of the Week.
And important to note, when we do a DCTX Rising Game of the Week, if Greg Powers sees a player he thinks should be a 3-star and has earned it on the field, he will make them a 3-star right here from the booth. We saw last week in San Marcos, Darius Davis, the Texas State commit, became a 3-star after a big game, and Balin George here in the second half became a 3-star tonight.
Got a strong feeling that 3 stars are coming for DJ Darling as well, but hey, it could be a 4 or 5-star too, Carter.
It's not
we
just
can make
a
the big call, right? We can make the big call eventually.
We've got a treat for you guys tonight. We got a lot of stuff going on every single week here on the DCTX Rising Game of the Week. We got viewers across TexanLive.com, across YouTube. We got the Swifties. We got Cy-Fair ISD Athletic Director Mike McEachern watching us as well. And here is 2nd down and 5 for the Bridgeland Bears. Bouncing near side, Schwab spun down at the line of scrimmage.
Another play by Preston Hall, the UCF commit. This is another guy climbing up radars, big and athletic.
And now with 8:45 left, Bridgeland's going to face a 3rd down and a long 5 here, pinned back to their own 43. 8.5 minutes to go. And if you're Bridgeland, not only do you have to convert here, like we said, you got to play a little bit of up-tempo offense and get the ball back a couple times. Beagle drops. He's got time. He fires. That's caught. Well behind the line to gain. He was caught at the line of scrimmage, and he didn't even get much further.
Dylan Bennett, number 0. That's a bad, bad man. The first sophomore to be elected a team captain by Fort Bend Ridgepoint in the school's history. And we've seen it here tonight. And it looks like Cypress Bridgeland is going to punt here on 4th and 5 inside their own territory.
Dylan Bennett, junior now. In on that tackle with him, sophomore Kalen Taylor. Maybe he's next in line.
7:45 left. Bridgeland's going to punt. Punt is up and away. He had a Ridgepoint defender right in his face on the kick. And this one, a great punt. Wow, all the way down to the 3. 7:28 left. Bridgeland boots it away, but they do pin Ridgepoint back into the shadow of their own end zone as Ridgepoint will come back out trying to churn some clock away here. And again, if you like Texas high school football, if you like, the after party, pull up, hop out at the after party tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. every Friday night. Ashley Pickle, Greg Tepper, highlights, expert analysis. We got scores, we got more. Wherever you stream, it's free. YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, TexanLive.com. Come join us. Come party with us. So 7:28 left here. Ridge Point's going to start backed up at their own 3-yard line with a 1st and 10. They sent a couple receivers out wide, but standing in his own end zone is Barty. They hand it off, finding a seam and getting up to the 14-yard line. Needed 10, got about 11, and that's a 1st down for Aiden Akins.
Gives this Fort Bend Ridge Point offense some breathing room. Awesome 1st down run. Exactly what you want to see from Akins. Tonight he's ran hard.
Very explosive in tight quarters. He's got that good burst, but he's a north and south runner, and I like that for this offense because they got some shifty guys at wide receiver, but he's a get-it-done in the middle of the field type of back.
That'll take us down inside of 7 minutes here. Ridge Point picks up a 1st down, which most importantly keeps this clock moving along nicely in favor of the Panthers.
And Ridge Point's offense is in cruise control right now, taking it down to below 5 seconds on the play clock.
Handoff Akins. Akins a couple of cuts, and he's got another 1st down to the 26.
Those big bodies up front are starting to lean on the defenders now.
6:35 here left to play. Bridgeland, not much they can do really, as Ridge Point is eating up the rest of this clock. And it appears the Panthers striving in the direction of starting the season 3-0 here in 2025. And guys, both teams with some big games next week. Ridge Point at Fort Bend Elkins to start district play. Bridgeland will also start district play against Langham Creek. So one last non-district game here for both sides. And like Carter said, Ridge Point in cruise control, and there's a couple of flags.
A couple of flags, and I'm a little bit depressed. They moved Hugh Smith over to the right side. You had Hugh Smith and Avery Morcho lined up next to each other, and I was just wondering what play that they were going to run right there. But you could see them very excited to get out on that play.
I personally can't imagine going up against Hugh Smith and Avery Morcho essentially at the same time. That's a hard pass on my part, but I'm curious to see what it would have looked like, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. They were excited, a little too excited.
5:55 here left. 1st down and 15. This is Aiden Akins. He makes a cut. Here goes Akins. Still on his feet. Akins across midfield. Ball came out at the end, and Ridge Point will maintain possession to midfield.
I know he had a bit of a cough up there, but Akins so impressive tonight. I think this Ridge Point offense is interesting this year because last year they were pretty much 50-50 run pass, but a lot of their rushing threat was with Austin Carlisle, the quarterback who is now at Houston. Barty is very athletic, but he kind of scrambles to throw, so need a lot more production from the running back room, specifically in the rushing game, and they found it in Akins tonight.
17 was Johnny on the spot to pick up that fumble, too, for the Panthers.
As now it's going to be 1st and 10 here from the 49, 5-10, and trickling down left to play. They run it here, trucking forward near the line to gain is Brady Wynn.
And it looks like the backups are going to come in for Fort Bend Ridge Point. They are icing this football game. This is going to open some eyes around the state, Greg Powers, because, 2-0, but even Coach Lefevre said that didn't play the cleanest football games in that 2-0 start. Tried to get that offensive 12% rule down. Of course, we made so much about that, not having as many negative plays, offensive penalties. We've seen a big decrease in that. I think this is going to show a lot for the state of Texas, that Fort Bend Ridge Point is for real.
As Roman Seymour enters the game at quarterback, he hands it off here on 1st and 10. The reserves are getting some playing time for the Panthers, but guys, Roman Seymour, one of those 3 quarterbacks we talked about for Ridge Point that has playing time, and he's a prospect himself.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 6'4". He was the next level athlete, showcase MVP 2 years ago as an underclassman. So he's definitely a guy that his dad played at Florida State, so he's definitely a well-known name. So to have this guy being able to come off the bench is a huge feather in the cap for Coach Lefevers.
Under 3:45 now left to play. And Ridge Point, foot off the gas, cruise control, chilling in the driver's seat. 2nd down and 9. And they're not going to get much there with Brady Wynn, other than maybe a yard, and it's going to bring up 3rd down. But at this point for Ridge Point, you're just trying to churn some clock out and move on to a date at Fort Bend Elkins next week to start district play 3-0.
And I know we've talked about it at length tonight, but I think it's so interesting how Fort Bend Ridge Point have been rotating 3 different quarterbacks, and 3 quarterbacks who, for all intents and purposes, are going to play Division I football at some point. You mentioned the backup, Roman Seymour, has a 3-star prospect. He's got Division I offer. His father played at Florida State. I just think it's a testament to the culture at Ridge Point that these guys were each other's biggest supporter, and they didn't let it cause drama for the rest of the team. And now that they're rolling with one quarterback in Bartee.
Rolling is Seymour. Throws, far sideline, caught. Looks like he's going to be a little bit shy of the line to gain, but a completion nonetheless to Brody Stratton.
One of the things I found interesting in this game, too, is the way that they use their offensive linemen up front. They will move Morcho from left to right. They will move Hugh Smith from left to right. So they're taking their top weapons, who happen to be offensive linemen, right, and scheming it up to where they can use them as a strength for the offense to score touchdowns. We don't get to call their name a lot when these guys like Darling and Haynes and Akins are scoring TDs, but they're doing the work, the ugly work in the trenches.
4th and 2. Seymour throws, caught and laid out, but picking up the 1st down either way is Caden Lawrence, the sophomore. Takes it down to 2:35 left to play. Clock's going to keep running, and that one should just about put it away.
And for Bridgeland, this is why you play these tough non-district opponents. Look, Fort Bend Ridge Point is one of the most loaded teams in Texas. This was a nice measuring stick for Bridgeland to say, hey, we have some work to do if we want to repeat the success of last year. The 12-2 season was the best season in program history.
Seymour here is going to look to throw. He's going to take a shot to the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown, Ridge Point.
How about
John Rangel from Roman Seymour?
How about Roman Seymour coming off the bench, getting his chance to play in the 4th quarter, puts it in the bucket for his wide receiver to haul in a touchdown pass, putting more points on the board for the Panthers. Tip of the cap to Seymour there.
And that's where you see the elite level arm talent from Roman Seymour.
Yeah, Seymour let that one fly, and he put it in the bucket perfectly. And Ridge Point knocking on the door of a 31-3 lead.
His dad, Roland Seymour, was a member of Florida State's 1999 undefeated national championship team.
And guys, we'll keep it here with 2:02 left to play. Now, Bridgeland going to get the ball back. This one out of hand, of course. Ridge Point going to start 3-0. We got plenty of Texas high school football around the state this weekend. You guys want to maybe talk about where you might be at tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow night we're going to be back in the DF Dub. I will be at Waxahachie against Forney.
Great game.
Out in Waxahachie. Yeah, Jerry Meyer, the TCU quarterback commit, throwing to Cohen Brown, the Texas wide receiver commit. Jaquan Snell, a 2027 safety who had opened eyes last year with his play. But Forney, talk about college prospects, Javion Osborne, the Notre Dame commit, one of the best running backs in Texas. And then, oh, by the way, Nelson Peterson, the running back. He and Osborne created one of the top QB-RB duos in the Dave Candles rankings this summer. I'm excited to see them in person.
And, of course, Peterson, the younger brother of former NFL legend Adrian Peterson, so he's must-watch TV. Keep an eye on Jordan Caraway, the big offensive lineman at Forney for me, Carter.
Kick is up and away. Bridgeland calls for a fair catch. They'll start with 2:02 left at their 25-yard line. But, guys, this one essentially already wrapped up. And Ridge Point's going to start 3-0. But for Bridgeland, as they take it into next week against Langham Creek, what would you like to see for the Bears to work on between week 3 and week 4?
I think the passing game should see some work over this week of practicing. It's right there. You know, this passing attack I can see being dangerous in district play, but there was just slight miscommunications tonight between quarterback and wide receiver. The plays were there to be made. They were just so close to making them, and it didn't happen. I know Cash Schwab is a star, and he had 2 touchdowns that were called back. That's the other thing I'd like to see them work on is the costly penalties. They didn't really give them a chance.
Handoff here on the first play of the new drive. It's a good run. That will see Bridgeland make it up to the 32, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning.
I'd like to see the Bears start to develop a secondary offensive weapon, right? Or a third offensive weapon, because I look at Beagle and Schwab as being the 1-2 punch on this offense. One of the unique things about Texas high school football is that you have sub-varsity teams, and some of those guys could be popping off on the sub-varsity teams that have the go juice that might get a chance later on the season to make this offense more dynamic. But the guys that are on the team right now, giving them more opportunities to make plays in space. The play-action pass works tremendously for them. A lot of people think Schwab's getting the ball. I think he's getting the ball every time. So they'll be able to keep defenses on their heels powered behind that.
And frankly, the defense, I thought they played a great game tonight. They held them to 17 points for a majority of the third quarter into the fourth quarter. There were 2 late scores here. One was when there was an interception that gave Fort Bend Ridgepoint the ball in the red zone, and another came with a lot of backups in. So this score looks like far more of a blowout than it actually was. I thought the defense showed a lot of promising things, but really the offense, when you put up 3 points, it just, you're not going to be able to keep it close with this Ridgepoint team.
I mean, looking back at this game, it's 17-3. Cash Schwab scores a touchdown that was called back on a holding. It would have made it a 1-score game. We're maybe talking a little bit differently than what we are right now if that touchdown stays on the board.
It's a run here coming out of the 2-minute warning. It's going to be a first down for Bridgeland to the 36. Takes us down to 1:45. New QB in the game for the Bears, the junior Talon Villanueva. So both teams here getting some guys, some meaningful snaps after the result has kind of been set in its place.
And I think that's the message, going back to what Power said about the penalty. It's the message if you're Lonnie Madison says, guys, you know, we are close to being a dominant team in our district. We are a penalty away from this game being 17-10 and being a whole different ball game. So I would not get discouraged by the blowout final score, because there are plays to be made out there, and this team is capable of making them.
As that one's thrown away to the Ridgepoint sideline by the Bears quarterback Villanueva.
Kalen Taylor, number 27, is not a prospect that I knew coming into this game, but he's definitely opened my eyes tonight. Very intriguing sophomore, number 27 out there. He's been flying around the field in the second half, making some plays.
1:11 left. It'll bring up a second down here and 10 yards to go. Second and 10, they hand it off to Martinez. It's the sideline, out of bounds near the 40, and that'll take us down inside of a minute. Couple more plays will salt this one away. And again, stay tuned to the end of this broadcast in about 60 seconds for our player of the game. Presented to one player from the Ridgepoint Panthers. We got some ideas, guys, but we will save that for about 45 seconds from now.
Final score in Fort Bend Elkins 28, Alief Hastings 13.
And of course, that is a Fort Bend Elkins team that Ridgepoint gets to face in week 4 next week. Handoff thrown down back behind the line of scrimmage, and that should just about do it. The final 15 seconds here will trickle away. Bridgeland, it doesn't appear, is going to run another play, and that will do it. Ridgepoint's going to win our DCTX Rising Game of the Week to open Week 3 of the 2025 Texas high school football season. Handedly 31-3 here at Ken Hall Stadium in Missouri City. Guys, before we go to final thoughts, time for our Elite Source Evaluators Player of the Game.
I'm going to go my nod to New Mexico commit DJ Darling. 2 touchdown receptions in this game, 6 foot, 175 pounds. Had some electric open field moves, showcasing his 4.46 laser 40-yard dash time. That dude can go.
He had the touchdown pass that started it all and then was the closer at the end of the game to put the game out of reach 24-3. Made a guy miss in a phone booth. Was so impressed with him and the rest of Fort Bend Ridgepoint's wide receiver core going up against a loaded Bridgeland secondary that returned 3 or 4 starters.
Guys, before we go, final thoughts from either of you.
I think Fort Bend Ridgepoint opened a lot of eyes in the state of Texas tonight. This was viewed as the game of the Houston area and also one of the games of Texas, especially for Thursday night, with 2 teams in recent years have become powerhouses in greater Houston area. And I think Fort Bend Ridgepoint, with a 31-3 showing, showed that they were for real. And now that they've got settled on a quarterback in Brody Bartee, they were a lot more consistent on offense, cut down on some of those early game penalties. This team could be a wagon.
Bridgeland's not going to be happy getting onto the bus tonight, but I think that they have a lot to be proud of. This is a team that executes well. The fundamentals are strong. I think by the end of the year, this team's going to be right in the mix where they need to be come playoff time.
A 31-3 final score here in favor of the Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers over the Bridgeland Bears on a Thursday night here in Mo City. Well, that'll do it for us here on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Again, whether you watch us on TexanLive.com on YouTube, we thank you either way for tuning in. I'm Gavin Moritz alongside Carter Yates, Greg Powers, and Mallory Hartley signing off here from Missouri City on the DCTX Rising Game of the Week. See you all next Thursday.